It's the holiday season, and all fans here in Philadelphia want, as a present, home field advantage throughout the playoffs in the NFC. Welcome to Philadelphia. Welcome to Lincoln Financial Field as the Eagles make their way onto this field. They are winners of 9 straight. Taking on today the San Francisco 49ers as they're looking for their first road win of the season. Donovan McNabb and that group red hot, and we're glad you're with us. It's the NFL on Fox. And now welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Joe Buck along with Troy Aikman and Cris Collinsworth, looking all cozy in front of our fire. And Troy, I'll ask you this. If people haven't seen the Philadelphia Eagles, they may be surprised at the way they win games, comparing them to the team the NFC Championship the last 2 years.
Well, there's no question, and it's no surprise that this team has gotten to where they're at. What is surprising is the way in which they've done it. This Eagles team has always been built on defense, but not this season. It really has been the offense that has gotten this team where they're at. And of course, anytime you talk about the offense, you've got to talk about Donovan McNabb. He told us yesterday that this is the healthiest that he has been all season, so it's not surprising that he's had the year that he's had, particularly here over the last 8 ball games. And of course, if he can continue to play the way that he has, this team can certainly go all the way.
Cris Collinsworth, you do not even have to be a defeatist type fan.
Right. Not that I would be anyway.
Here in Philadelphia.
Very positive person, thank you.
To look at this San Francisco game and say, wait a minute now, especially with the way the offense has played the last couple of weeks, that the Eagles may have their hands full today.
You know, we asked Andy Reid that any chance your team comes into this one overconfident after the way that you played on Monday night so brilliantly down there. And he said, well, maybe until you put on one of the tapes for the San Francisco 49ers and you watch this explosive offense and you watch the way they play defense, blitzing on almost every down. And really for San Francisco, the reason they've been so hot on their side of the football offensively has been to play at Jeff Garcia. No question about it. Jeff has played his best football of the season the last 2 weeks, of course, with Terrell Owens. Always an opportunity for them to come in here and pull off the upset.
We remind you to answer your Sprint virtual coach question. You can use one of these. Sprint PCS Vision phone, as Frosty's doing for you right there. You know, kids, you can also log on to Fox.com.
Get him away from the fire.
That's not fair to do to Frosty.
Really?
You know, I don't really like it in front of the warm fire. But you kids have been so nice to me. Jeff Garcia has had a tremendous 2 games in the month of December. What will the 49ers do here today? They on the road. The last time they went 0-8 on the road, Bill Walsh's first season, 1979. Waiting for it is James Thrash, and we're underway here in Philly. Thrash, a lot of room to run. No flags on the field as Thrash is beyond midfield and knocked out of bounds at the San Francisco 40.
I think the Eagles got away with a block in the back at the beginning of that run. See if we can pick it up right off backside here. I can really see it. Quentin Michael maybe got away with one, but nice big start for Philadelphia.
Come on, crank it up, Collinsworth. Let's go, Aikman. There's a big game. Week 16 from the 40-yard line. First down for Philadelphia. They like to throw deep the first play of the game, and it is picked off into the waiting arms of Tony Perry. He just took a week off last week. That's it. He gets smacked inside Philadelphia territory, but that is interception number 8 for Tony Parrish. He had 1 in 5 straight games until last week, and they open up with a throw, and it ends up in the arms of a 49er.
You're going to see blitzes coming from everywhere. That is San Francisco's game plan today. They feel like if they can get some pressure on McNabb, he's not as accurate a passer. Really not a very good throw to open this game.
Well, he didn't have much of a lane to try to fit the ball up inside on the seam to the wide receiver, and just not a very good decision, especially not a very good throw on the part of Donovan McNabb.
So now it's a 49er offense, and it's Barlow. 3rd consecutive start, taking the place of the injured Garrison Hurst, a gain of 6.
There's no question coming into this game that Andy Reid did not want to allow the 49ers to get confidence and feel that they had a chance in this ball game. They were hoping that they could come out and move the football and try to get some points on the board early. Not a good start by the Eagles offensively.
Our yellow first down line is temporarily not working, so this is a throwback day for all of you. Penalty flags and whistles and bells and everything before. It is a false start.
False start. Number 88, offense, 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
The dulcet tones of Tom White, who will be your referee for this afternoon's game. That'll make it second down and 9.
We just hope this game ends by midnight then.
See, that's not right.
What's not right?
So you didn't even give him a chance.
It ain't right. Give the man a chance.
You don't even know what I was talking about.
Yeah, I do. It's terrible. Second down and 9. Garcia with crack gut. That's Kalu on his back, and the pass is complete to Streets. Right up the middle with the pressure, which is exactly where the Eagles want to get their pressure, up the middle. Kalu got there too late, and it's a 12-yard completion to Streets.
Yeah, Jim Johnson, the defensive coordinator, told us yesterday that he was not concerned with Jeff Garcia scrambling outside the pocket. What he's concerned about is if he starts moving up inside. This time Garcia is able to get to the outside, but he has the understanding of where his receivers are. Makes a good throw back to Ty Streets.
A good throw. How about an unbelievable throw? Throwing to the ground, back across your body. That was amazing.
Blitz coming from the Eagles. It's Kevin Barlow. And Barlow picked up 2. Take a look at the offense for the 49ers. They actually come in. Statistically, they're good offensively and defensively. Even their point differential. Amazing, they are plus 51 on the season, but they carry with them a 6-8 record. Offensive line is relatively healthy, and it showed last week the kind of day the 49ers had offensively at Cincinnati in that 3-point loss. And it's Barlow starting at running back, and the Pro Bowler, Fred Beasley, who got a 30-second standing ovation from his teammates. His name was announced by Dennis Erickson. He is headed for his first Pro Bowl. Garcia. Had Owens wide open. That'll make T.O. unhappy. 3rd and 8.
It's not going to work too many times for the 49ers when you have Terrell Owens, and he's been going against N.D. Kalu, a defensive end on the outside. Got to feel pretty good about that matchup right there, Troy, when you get a defensive end on your best player.
Well, you feel good about it if you make the catch, you know.
Come on.
This has been something that's plagued T.O. a little bit over the course of his career. Of course, he had a couple drops last week, but yeah, if they're going to match up N.D. Kalu on him too often, I like to match up with Terrell Owens.
Defensive Jim Johnson. It's 3rd and 8. Another blitz. They hand off to Barlow. The perfect play, and it's a first down inside the 20. A gain of 14. JB is standing by with a game break. Let's check in with Mr. Brown.
Hey, Joe, take a look at Paul Ettinger, who had struggled up to that point. 1 of 3 field goals for Chicago, but he bangs home that 45-yard field goal to put the Bears up 27-24. They're hoping for their 6th victory at home. Jamal Lewis, 500 yards in 2 games against Cleveland. Baltimore spanked them today, 35-0. Back to Joe, Troy, Cris, and Pam.
All right, JB, thanks. So now Baltimore is back out in front in the north in the AFC with the Cincinnati loss at St. Louis. Garcia drops it off to Beasley, the fullback. He's to the 15.
You know, it's interesting. Jim Johnson told us that he was going to bring pressure, and he has through this drive. That time he brings it to Garcia's blind side, but San Francisco does a good job of picking it up, as you're going to see. Kevin Barlow last week struggled with some of the blitz protections. Jim Johnson wanting to see whether or not Kevin Barlow, the running back, is going to be able to see the various looks and give Jeff Garcia the proper protection.
2nd down and 6. Barlow. Question with Barlow is, can he hang on to the football?
Yeah, it's a good point, Joe, because he had the 2 fumbles in the red zone last week, but certainly they haven't lost any confidence in him. Giving the football right back to him here. Of course, not a whole lot of choice with Garrison Hurst being out of the lineup, but here's a guy with all the talent in the world, can catch the football, a tremendous runner. The only question about him, can he hang on to the football and can he pass protect? It's been what's kept him off the field as a full-time player.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Those last week overshadowed his performance. He had 154 yards, and it was a career high.
3rd down and 4. Philly's done a good job this year of keeping teams out of the end zone. This is incomplete for Wilson. That'll bring up 4th down, and this has been typical, really, of the Philadelphia defense. They bend in the middle, but they rarely break back down toward their own end zone.
Well, that's exactly right, Joe. I mean, teams have been able to move the football against them, especially on the ground, but they've done a great job all season long of not letting people get into the end zone with touchdowns. That, their defensive scoring defense, along with 3rd down defense, has really been the strength for this team.
Of course, the defense, Chris, didn't have anything to do with that drop by Cedric Wilson.
That's right, and Terrell Owens was really running wide open on the play, and I don't think he's too happy right now over on the bench.
Come on, what?
There we go.
Bad snap. Peterson will take a seat, and the Eagles take over.
End up 6 and 8 right there.
Well, and that's been their problem really all year long. They've had so many problems in the kicking game that have cost them games. It's probably fitting that here we are in the 15th game of the season, getting a chance to put points on the board against a tough opponent, and they're unable to execute the snap and the hold.
I said bad snap. It was really on Bill LaFleur, who is the holder. It was maybe a touch high, but it should have been handled. It wasn't, and Peterson bears the brunt of that mistake. So the Eagles survive the interception by Donovan McNabb. Impressive opening possession by the 49er offense, but they come away with no points. No gain as John Ritchie takes it. The fullback right up the middle will give him half a yard, and this is a game that the Philadelphia Eagles are gunning for their 10th consecutive victory. They've won 9 straight, 10 straight. It would be a franchise record, and they know now that they have to win to stay out in front of St. Louis in that chase for home field advantage throughout the NFC playoffs. Impressive win by the Rams today at home over Cincinnati. And the 49ers trying to win for the first time on the road. Blitz coming, and it looked like Trey Thomas, the left tackle, moved too soon. One area we really haven't talked about, and I know we just got a new audience that joined us. First, Tom.
False start. Number 72, offense, 5-yard penalty, remains 2nd down.
Is, while everybody talks about this 3-headed monster or 4-headed monster running the ball for the Eagles, 4 meaning you had Donovan McNabb, Correll Buckhalter is inactive for this game as punishment for missing his meetings and being late to the Saturday practice. He is typically the starting running back and not even active. Staley was announced as the starter. 14. McNabb going to run. And Smith is there to force him out after a gain of 4.
San Francisco banged up in the secondary today, playing a lot of young players, but they do a good job here in coverage. Donovan McNabb had some time to deliver the football, but he just couldn't find anybody to get the ball to. Rashad Holman there on Todd Pinkston, and so Donovan McNabb trying to get something out of nothing, able to keep from losing yards.
We haven't even really set up a lot of the aspects of this game. Biggest one is the secondary for the 49ers and the injuries. Guys making starts at cornerback that don't typically do it. McNabb is going to step up and now let it go, and there's the guy I'm talking about, Carpenter, former Arena League player. He's been a safety, was a linebacker in college, and he makes his start ever at cornerback, and he breaks up that play. And the understudy for Plummer and Webster gets a brief round of applause from the guys that he's replacing.
Well, I thought it was interesting. Dwayne Carpenter, yeah, he'd been playing safety all week. Thought he was going to be the starting free safety today. Jim Moore said, hey, you played so well, we're going to move you to corner for the game on Sunday.
This pass, rather punt, is taken in by Jimmy Williams, and he goes backward. They're going to mark him with forward progress at the 43. So Dwayne Carpenter making his first start here in Philadelphia, breaks up that 3rd down pass, and the 49ers get it back.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Friendly nonstop service all across the country. Southwest Airlines, a symbol of freedom.
Well, it was a, I guess, good and bad start for the 49ers. They get the quick interception by Parrish. They moved the ball right down the field, but they didn't stall at the end. They fell apart. A wide open Terrell Owens was missed. Cedric Wilson could not haul in a pass that would have been good for a first down, and then a botched snap and hold on a 31-yard field goal attempt. Garcia out of the reach of Terrell Owens. And Garcia had pressure. Defensively, Jim Johnson will tell you they are having to overplay Darwin Walker and Corey Simon because of the injuries to Paul Grasmanis and Hollis Thomas. They're not big guys anyway, and because they tend to wear down, they don't protect the smaller middle linebacker, Mark Simoneau, like the Eagles would like. And so up front, it is going to be a challenge here late in the year for this Eagles defensive line because of injury. Barlow. Nice cutback by Barlow, and he's got a first down near the Philadelphia 40. JB will jump right in with a game break.
JB, Tennessee got the ball back with 1:42 left, trailing by 4 on 4th and 10. McNair to the converted quarterback from UCLA, Drew Bennett. Tennessee comes from behind to win it, clinching a playoff berth back to Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, Cris Collinsworth, and Pam Oliver.
4th and 10, they throw that and make it?
Yes.
Wow.
JB said. Kevin Barlow got it on the toss and picked up 3.
Well, you just look at the way these two teams have come out early in this game, and if you just said which one is out of it and which one of them is playing for a playoff spot, you'd pick San Francisco right now as the team that was a little hungrier. I think they got embarrassed last week in Cincinnati, especially defensively, and so far in this game they've come out and haven't even given up a first down to Donovan McNabb and the Eagles.
There are 2 coordinators on display here this afternoon. You can make the case for 3 that should be on those long lists of potential head coach candidates. First to second down throw over the middle. It's the tight end. That's Jed Weaver, and he is down inside the 15. Talking about Jim Mora Jr. and Brad Childress. The other would be Jim Johnson, the defensive coordinator for Andy Reid.
Right. 49ers are doing a great job, whoever the coordinator is, of picking up these blitzes, because if the Philadelphia Eagles cannot get there, and they're not even getting a hand on Jeff Garcia, there are going to be people running wide open down the field all day.
And the reason that they're picking it up is they're turning the protection backside. They're turning it to the weak side. That's where Jim Johnson likes to bring the pressure, and the 49ers have an answer for it.
That's Robertson. And Jamal carries it down inside the 15. They're going to give him half a yard. Greg Knapp is the offensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. And he has to be pleased that this offensive line, which has been battling one ankle injury after another all year, is at least relatively healthy, and it's starting to show up on the field.
Well, it really is. With the exception of 23 snaps last week against Cincinnati was the first time all 5 guys played together. This then is the game. And obviously that's a big reason why there has been inconsistencies offensively earlier in the year.
Garcia with plenty of time. Dumps it off to Barlow. Kevin Barlow looking for the end zone touchdown. Barlow goes in for the first time on a pass all season long, and the 49ers strike first, and they're already booing here in Philly.
One of the reasons that the San Francisco 49ers thought they had a good shot in this ball game, Troy, was something you hit on just a little bit ago. The fact that they have changed their protections now against the Philadelphia Eagles. They used to come in here against the Jim Johnson coach defense and just get hit from the blind side all the time. They feel like that now they have a little bit of a handle on some of those blitzes and are able to start creating some plays. And right now Garcia out of the pocket is really giving the Eagles some fits.
The Philadelphia Eagles are in the playoffs, but they want the NFC Road Bowl to roll right through this new stadium in Philadelphia. They need to win today to stay out in front of St. Louis for that honor. The reaction of Greg Knapp, reaction of the Eagles, what will it be? They're down 7. Kevin Barlow on the receiving end, making his strong case, the restricted free agent, to come back and be the man next year. And Jeff Garcia 7 touchdown throws and no interceptions the last 2+ games. It's 7-0 49ers. Thrash from a couple yards deep in the end zone. Good return by Thrash out across the 25. They keep talking about happy feet with Garcia. Tap, tap, move around. Tap, tap. Look, you can almost see his feet smiling. It's 7-0 San Francisco. Little heat on the sideline. Kickers always find themselves right in front of that thing. And there's David Akers. How about the kicker for the New Orleans Saints?
He's inside that thing.
They were dunked after a crazy play. Have a chance to time. They miss the extra point. McNabb. There's some happy feet. He's moving all over the place. Find a place with his secondary banged up to throw the ball. A gain of 1.
So we go back to that play with the 49ers. It helped set up the touchdown for them. What you're going to see is Beasley go in motion and come back, but the center Newberry works back. That gives 4 blockers for 4 defenders, and that's why they were able to pick it up and allow Garcia the time to find Weaver down the middle. Very good blocking schemes that San Francisco has incorporated to try to adjust to some of the blitzing that they're going to face from Jim Johnson.
Garcia's made 2 very good throws on the run, which is a specialty of his, and now 2nd down and 9. This is Staley touching the ball for the first time today. He crosses the 30, a gain of 5. James Brown. JB, thanks. Troy and I were sitting here watching that. I know you are a fan, Troy, of Torrey Holt, what he does week in and week out.
I think he's the best in the game right now at the wideout position. Him and Marvin Harrison.
This is Westbrook out of the backfield. He's got a first down. They love him. The Villanova product is out to the 40.
Anytime you come with that weak side blitz right there, there's 2 ways to go about it. You can either take your back and try and pick it up as a blocker, or you just release him. Say the heck with it. You guys come, we're going over the top. But right there, Westbrook has to make somebody miss, and he made Derek Smith miss like he's been doing all season long and picked it up. It was interesting that Dave Wanstead, according to Jimmy Johnson, said he thought this was the most underrated back in the National Football League. And he may be right.
Yeah, he's not underrated here in Philadelphia.
Not with us. I know that.
He is across from Julian Peterson. McNabb looks that way and now fires. Penalty flag as Peterson nearly came up with a pick, and there may have been a grab there as Peterson's going to do some push-ups.
Might want to get on the ball just before he does the push-ups.
On top of that, the penalty may be on him anyway.
He's doing push-ups and the ball's sitting right next to him.
Well, yeah, that was after he has pass interference on Brian Westbrook. He's getting got a little coverage in, got a little workout in.
Maybe he can do a cartwheel, you know, just finish the play.
Maybe like a light step aerobics workout, Jane Fonda.
There's a left hand right there on the back of Brian Westbrook's jersey. That's what the officials call both of them. And then at least they didn't pull a phone out of his pants.
You can see that ball was tipped.
There we go.
The ball was tipped, and I think that's got to be the central issue to the that's going on down inside the 30.
It's not just any push-up. He's doing a one-legged push-up.
We have an interception on the play. Fumble recovered by Philadelphia, but prior to the interception, holding. Number 89, defense, 5-yard penalty. It's an automatic first down.
It's on 88.
Yeah, you got the numbers wrong.
On top of that, it didn't really look. I didn't pay much attention. It didn't look like an interception.
Not, absolutely was not an interception.
Well,
it wasn't even close
with
to
the
it.
pass interference or the holding, it never was an interception anyway. Then, right?
Right.
I think Tom.
Right. You bloody well right.
Tom White confused me a little bit there.
And he needs a throat lozenge.
Got something
Number
like
98.
That. So it's on Julian Peterson. No mystery there. They got him for the hold. An automatic first down. The ball's at the 45.
It's not the game holder. Okay.
McNabb fires. Thrash overthrown. There's Dwayne Carpenter down there with James Thrash. Thrash was behind him, but he was led too far. The offense for the Philadelphia Eagles, they come in 19th in the NFL. Last year they had Pro Bowlers all across that front line on the offense. This year, Zippo. In fact, only 2 for the Eagles as a group. Coming into the day, the top team in the NFC. Only 2 for the New England Patriots. Top team in the AFC. There's Brad Childress, who Andy Reid is hoping will get a serious look as an NFL head coach this offseason. Carpenter's going to get a flag. All over the back of the intended receiver. Thrash, and that will be another first down.
Well, I was saying a little bit earlier, Dwayne Carpenter scheduled to be the starting free safety in the game today. He practiced at safety all week long.
Defensive pass interference. Number 35. Defense. That's a first down.
He practiced at safety all week long, and then on Friday, because of Ahmed Plummer not being able to play, Jim Mora Jr., the defensive coordinator, went up to Carpenter and said, hey, look, I think you've really done a great job at safety all week long, and we're going to reward you by moving you to corner, of which he's only played 5 snaps in his career at that position. And so the coaches are really excited about watching this young man play, but they also know there's going to be some mistakes, as there was there.
Plummer is out with bulging discs in his back. Bronson is out, bulging disc in his neck. McNabb fires and has Pinkston along the sideline. Gain of 6. How about the defense for San Francisco? 2:44 left in this first quarter. They come in number 10 in the NFL, and Jim Mora Jr. will tell you, don't tell our guys we have nothing to play for. We're not big on stats. And then he reeled off 22 stats where the 49ers look good on the sheet, and that includes overall defense.
I think that's called a resume.
Right. He wants a chance to be a head coach, and why not? Young, exciting defensive coordinator for San Francisco. He held that position under Mariucci. 2nd and 5. Handoff is to Westbrook. And there's Westbrook diving forward after an initial hit by Derek Smith, who's had a rough series here. Westbrook carried a tackler for a first down.
Real nice cutback that time by Westbrook. Jeff Ulbrich came shooting through the hole, and it looked like it was going to be one of those major collisions in the backfield. I'm not exactly sure how Westbrook saw it, and just cut right behind it and picked up the first down. Ulbrich had to think he was going to have a big one.
First down for Philadelphia, trying to answer, down 7-0. They're watching in St. Louis, you can bet. Out of the backfield, that's Staley. Stumbling all the way, and a gain of 2.
You know, that's one of the screen plays that the Eagles like to run. They'll throw the swing route, but then the center, Hank Fraley, he's the guy. Watch him right here, the center. He's going to come out to his left, and he's going to be the lead guy trying to lead the way for Deuce Staley, and that's asking a lot for a center to come out and block somebody in space. He does a pretty good job, though. It wasn't his man that made the play, but they call that the Wally screen, and that's one of the things that the Eagles really like. They scored last week with it with Buckhalter against Miami.
2nd down and 8. Staley again, not much. 3rd and long coming up. No gain on that carry.
They had gotten away from the blitz a little bit, and the Eagles have made a couple of plays against them. That time they come right back, bring the safety Tony Parrish up there, and he was able to get all the way through the hole. There's just no way that you can block a safety coming through there because there just aren't enough bodies in there. So right now they've got that 3rd and long situation, and you better believe they'll be bringing some pressure here.
Extra defensive backs into the game for San Francisco, meaning they pulled a couple of guys out of the stands. 3rd down and 8. Pressure on McNabb. Ahanotu is there, and McNabb goes down. Back at the 48-yard line, and the pressure by Ahanotu, a loss of 10, and that'll bring up 4th down and a punt coming up from Philadelphia.
And that was surprising because they didn't blitz. They just brought 4 and were able to get there. One of the hardest things about playing against McNabb, he's so big, it's just hard to get him on the ground. We saw last week against the Miami Dolphins that get your arms around the guy is pretty tough.
The end of the quarter before the punt.
Quarter.
Troy, you got anything? Nope. All right. Take a break. We'll come back. 2nd quarter coming up. Dirk Johnson doesn't care. I think right now he'd rather punt the other direction. 7-0 49ers. They're about to get it back The NFL on Fox will continue right after this. Oh, you talk about an exercise in futility. Fans trying to come out on the field and kick field goals into the wind that's whipping around here at this new stadium. And I would say, as you look at the first quarter stats, that my uneducated, unscientific guess is the wind is blowing from our right to our left. So Dirk Johnson at the moment, I am saying I'm going to climb out on the limb and say he is punting with the wind, even though Troy does not agree. Here's the season for Dirk. We'll never know. Waiting for it is Jimmy Williams. Able to get a return and nearly broke it. All that was standing between Williams and pay dirt was Dirk. But he was wrapped up, brought down. 49ers have it, up 7. The seeds still may be up in the air, but the playoff picture got a whole lot clearer today. The Dallas are in their first playoff berth since '99. The Titans clinched a spot. New Orleans and Tampa Bay eliminated. New Orleans losing today despite a great flourish at the end with a crazy play, but a missed extra point, which would have tied it as Garcia loses the ball, and it is recovered by Philadelphia. Emmons, with 2 bad hands, able to fall on top of it. Simon knocked it away, and Emmons fell on top. A big recovery for Philadelphia.
Yeah, Corey Simon, he's the one who gets the pressure on Jeff Garcia and is able to knock the ball loose. You're going to see him right here. He's the one who comes around and gets it with his left hand, and then Carlos Emmons in position to get the recovery.
Ron Stone, beaten on the play, is injured. He is down. We'll take a break. The Eagles have great field position when we come back. 5 fumbles lost the last 3 games. Garcia lost one last week. Was returned for a touchdown, and this one is returned to the 20, at least fallen on by Carlos 20. And they look at Ron Stone, who could not hold up. Simon was playing him, got by him, and knocked it out of the hand of Garcia. Down 7, starting with it at the 20. This is Thrash. First down inside the 10, out of bounds at the 7. Let's go back to the fumble by Garcia.
Ron Stone, who's been battling a bad hamstring. His leg's just going to give away on him as he's trying to block Corey Simon, and just literally couldn't hold up anymore, and Simon able to get the turnover.
Yeah, Ron Stone's been banged up with injuries all season long. Was able to come back finally last week and play, but he was playing without that hamstring being completely healed, and he obviously had another setback here on that play.
First down and goal for Philadelphia. Crowd wants it in the hands of Staley. They get their wish, and so do the Eagles. Touchdown.
Well, they get the ball into the hands of Deuce Staley, but this offensive line does a good job of sealing the edge and everything up inside. You got John Ritchie and then Bobby Williams, number 66, the right guard. He comes around on the pull, and he's able to get just enough that allows Deuce Staley to get into the end zone.
Akers ties it. 14th straight game with a rushing touchdown for this Philadelphia Eagles offense. The reaction from Deuce Staley. Wilma liked it. 7-7. 21st rushing touchdown of the season for this Philadelphia offense. It's the most since 1965. Last time they had as many as 22 was 1953. That's how they've been doing it, on the ground. And the Eagles handed to Staley, and he did the rest after the fumble recovery by Emmons. Cedric Wilson to the 30. So now the San Francisco offense back to work. We're tied at 7 here in Philly. 7-7 game after the touchdown by Staley and the 49er offense with the ball at their own 31. Just underway in the second quarter. Handoff is to Barlow. Out to the 35, a gain of 4, and let's say hello to Pam Oliver.
Hello to you, Joe Buck. Ron Stone has another injury to add to the list. Ahmed Garcia fumbles. Stone hyperextended his right knee. The 49ers trainers just finished wrapping up his knee. He is currently up, standing now on the sideline trying to shake it off. His return is probable, Joe.
Thank you, Pam. Kyle Kozdar is in there at the moment at the rush spot. Second down and 6. That pass is dropped. Terrell Owens does not have a catch. Hey, you can look down the bottom of your screen. You know what's coming up. Game break, JB.
Pretty neat indeed, JB. And what we'll show you is Matt Hasselbeck hooking up with Maurice Morris, completing a 5-play, 45-yard drive. 14-0 Seattle at that point, but a field goal now makes it 14-3 Seattle, looking to be perfect at home. Back to Joe Buck.
They are looking to be perfect at home. The 49ers are looking for their first win on the road. Third down and 6. Garcia drops it off. Barlow looking for the first down, and he trips forward, picks it up. Fresh set of downs for San Francisco.
Well, it's a nice job by Jeff Garcia of moving around and stepping up within the pocket and finding Kevin Barlow and getting the ball into the hands. But it's really even a better job by Kevin Barlow understanding where he's got to get to in order to pick up the first down. He catches the ball and he turns. He knows exactly where the first down markers are, and he's able to pick it up.
It's interesting what they're doing with Terrell Owens right now, too. They're trying to take away all his inside cutting routes. They don't want him crossing the field, and they've done a good job of it so far.
Handoff is to Barlow. He's out to the 46. Let me ask you guys this. In your opinion, is Owens the kind of guy that if he doesn't get in the action early is going to become disinterested in a ball game?
Yeah, I think that's probably fair.
Oh, look at that for a loaded question.
On, Lord.
Well, except last week he dropped 2 balls early and looked like he was going to be out of a game, sort of like he's started this one with not a whole lot of action. He came back over 100 yards in that. So, I mean, he's the guy, especially with Troy Vincent being out of the game. He's working against Bobby Taylor. This is a matchup they have to win if they're going to win this.
Then just say no next time. Second down and 7. Garcia's flushed, and Wayne got his hands on the fullback Beasley. Incomplete. Third down coming up.
You know, I think what is interesting, though, in talking with Jeff Garcia yesterday, he said that Terrell Owens, both Terrell Owens and Ty Streets only practice 1 day a week, and so it's been very difficult for Jeff Garcia to maintain some confidence and some chemistry with those 2 guys. So he said he actually has more confidence in Cedric Wilson and Brandon Lloyd as far as turning the ball loose. No question that in order to get the timing down and have confidence, you've got to be able to develop that and work on that throughout the weeks, and they've not been able to do that.
Third down and 7. Before the snap, which was low, and it's a false start. So that'll make it 3rd and 12.
False start. Number 63, offense, 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
They got the smallest left tackle in the NFL, but a very good one in Derek Deese, only 289 pounds.
And there's a Pro Bowler there in Troy Vincent, and he's got a hip flexor injury, which could serve as a problem for him throughout the remainder of this season and then into the playoffs, but obviously one of the real cornerstones for this defensive team.
3rd down and 12. Blitz coming from the Eagles. Garcia dumps it off, incomplete, and they're going to throw a flag at the end of the play. Intentional grounding. Time for the 49ers to punt.
Troy, you talked about Troy Vincent being out of the game, but one thing the Eagles have done is develop some cornerbacks because of some earlier injuries. Lito Shepherd, watch him get physical with Terrell Owens. Going to take him off his route and then trail underneath him. One thing that Terrell Owens does not do very well, I don't think, is when somebody gets on his tail in that trail technique. He doesn't have a lot of shake and bake, doesn't have a lot of moves, but Sheldon Brown and Lito Shepherd and Michael Lewis and some of those guys that they drafted a season ago because of injuries have really developed into good players.
Intentional grounding. It's a 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Let's loss of down. 4th down.
There's no question, Chris, that the injuries that they had in the secondary at the beginning of the season with Brian Dawkins being out and then Bobby Taylor missing some time, that those young corners, as you mentioned, Sheldon Brown and Lito Shepherd, along with Clinton Hart as a safety, that was invaluable experience for these guys. And now when you've got some injuries like a Troy Vincent, and as you move in through the year and on into next year, you've got some guys that you know a lot about.
Bill LaFleur. Good punt. A lot of hang time, and as Westbrook took it on the move. Forced out by Smith after return of 8. So good field position at their own 42 for the Eagles. They were down 7 early. There's a penalty flag in the mix-up on the far side of the field, sitting at the 45-yard line, so we will hold a minute. Looks like it's a hold against Philadelphia, so forget the great field position for the Eagles.
Well, you can't look at Brian Westbrook, though, or I can't, on a punt return without thinking of what he did in that Giants game earlier this season.
Holding, number 58, during the return, 10-yard penalty. It'll be a 1st down. Timeout.
Aikman, been battling the flu bug, was questionable for this game. Guilty of a hold, and that'll move the ball back to the 32. The Eagles have it. We're tied. Chris, you talked about that punt return by Westbrook, which won the game for the Eagles at the Meadowlands, and you see what's happened since then.
Yeah, and if there was ever a single play that seemed to turn around an entire season, because, Troy, you'll remember that offense in that did absolutely nothing. I didn't think there was a chance in the world of Philadelphia taking it offensively and going down the field against the Giants, but the punt return won it, and they haven't lost since.
Starting from their own 32, that's Westbrook. Carpenter grabs a hold of him, but not before a gain of 13.
I tell you, this gives you some kind of ideas, the talents of Brian Westbrook and what he's able to do with the football. And I don't know that people even appreciate just how quick and how explosive this young back is. Right there, he plants his feet, is able to get back to the outside to his right, but then he just has tremendous speed and power to make the most out of each and every run. And I didn't appreciate just how good this guy was until last week watching that Monday night game. And he made some runs in that game that you just do not see in this league. He's got a great future ahead of him.
Timeout called for by San Francisco. So we will take a break. First timeout used by either team so far this half. It's 7 and a 1st down for Philly at their own 45. The early game headliners, Quincy Carter with a strong day for Dallas in their win, their playoff clinching win at home over New York. Jamal Lewis is only 48 yards shy of 2,000 for the season. Another big against Cleveland. Torrey Holt, another week, another double-digit catch day, and another 100-yard day for the best in the business right now for St. Louis.
How about Jamal Lewis going over 500 yards rushing in 2 games against Cleveland?
That's Westbrook, gets the quick throw from McNabb, and he is wrapped up by Rumpf after a gain of 8. Let's go down to Pam.
Hey, Joe, how about T.O. as an Eagle? Well, it's not the worst thing in the world if you talk to Donovan McNabb. Recently, McNabb told me he would love having Terrell Owens in a Philadelphia Eagles uniform. He says he brings so much talent, T.O. does, and that his antics aside, he feels like he would be a perfect fit in Philadelphia.
Well, you look at, thanks, Pam, you look at what the wide receivers have done surrounding Donovan McNabb. As a group, they have 173 fewer yards than Torrey Holt to the Rams. Only 3 touchdown catches. Pinkston trying to make it 4. He is in for the touchdown. Right on cue, the 4th touchdown throw to a wide receiver. For Pinkston, his second of the year.
Andy Reid said coming into this game they wanted to use some double moves against these young DBs for the 49ers. Todd Pinkston acts like he's going on the slant. He then takes off on the go route. He runs right by him, and because of the blitz, he's on Tony Parrish, a safety, and it's just a great call at the right time.
But that ball came out early. They've got to challenge that call.
They did.
That should be a touchback. No question about it. That ball came out early. The hit by Tony Parrish, and Dennis Erickson got that one in just in time. Catch is complete. It's away. And the goalpost is in the way. Yeah, but even with that, you could see the ball coming out.
San Francisco is challenging the ruling on the field that this is a touchdown.
It looks, and it's virtually impossible to tell on that angle. And that official went down at the end of the play like the ball did come out before he got the ball across the goal line.
I don't think there's any question the ball's coming out prior to him crossing the goal line. And I'll tell you what an impact Tony Parrish has already made on this ball game. He had an interception there on the first play, and he comes back and knocks this one out prior to Pinkston crossing the goal line.
You know what happened, though, Troy, is the official fell down right at the moment that ball was getting hit and knocked out. Watch the official over here. You can see him. He should have seen that play. That happened well after he fell down, so he should have been able to pick up that play.
So another look at pairing it out. That ball certainly doesn't look like it's controlled.
Yeah, even though we don't have a shot right down the goal line, there's no question looking at this that the ball clearly coming out prior to him crossing the goal line.
So this is the difference between a touchdown to the ball through the back of the end zone and a touchback. And it is all in the hands and all on the eyes of Tom White, who will go under the hood and review it.
I mean, it's not even close. You can see right here. And he's still well out on the field of play. I'm just not sure how the official missed it staring right at it there.
You're not sure?
Well,
after what we've seen this year,
I think the Seattle Seahawks probably have a pretty good idea how he missed it.
How about the Kansas City Chiefs last night?
That was brutal too. Hitting the ball twice while you're standing out of bounds.
So it was a challenge by Erickson, who either saw it himself or got the word from above. And you said it. I thought it was important what you said, that Dennis Erickson got that flag out there right before the snap with that extra point pending. Had it happened, well, we wouldn't be looking at this replay for the 15th time. More love for Troy Aikman here in Philadelphia. So it's a San Francisco challenge, and it's up to Tom White. And it will be an interesting reception if he makes the call we expect him to make.
After reviewing the play, the receiver loses possession of the ball at the 1-yard line. Before he crossed the goal line, the fumble went forward and out of bounds in the end zone. By rule, that is a touchback. San Francisco's ball at the 20-yard line. First down.
Take the points off the board, and instead of a touchdown throw to Pinkston, he has it knocked out of his hands by Parrish with a great effort on a makeup play, beaten on the throw, and he knocks it through the back of the end zone, and the 49ers take over, and the game's still tied.
You know, really a great play, yeah, by Tony Parrish, but you can't underestimate just what a great call that was by Andy Reid, because they bring the corner blitz, they force Parrish into coverage, they get the right call made, they get the ball into Pinkston's hands with a chance to go in for the touchdown, and now they don't even have the football.
But I can't believe that Tony Parrish, a safety, was able to run down Todd Pinkston, who has to be the fastest receiver of the starters out there. Just a tremendous play to not give up on it.
I think it's just now dawning on these fans that it's still 7-7, and Barlow out of room to run over the right side. A nice gain on first down of 7. Break. Let's check in again with JB.
Hey, fellas, take a look at how hard Sean Alexander hits the hole here. Boy, does he hit the hole, and he takes it to the house 45 yards to pay dirt. Seattle on top. Seattle still fighting for a playoff spot next Saturday on our air at 5 against San Francisco. Pre-game show at 4:30 Eastern. Back to Joe Buck.
They are fighting JB, and they need help. Barlow forward for a first down. There's really one spot up for grabs in the NFC as far as who gets in to this year's playoffs, and by our count, 2 in the AFC. There's a wild card spot open, and then that AFC North in the battle between Baltimore and Cincinnati, with the Ravens on top in that division today after what happened, their win over Cleveland and Cincinnati's loss in St. Louis. From their own 31 on first down, Garcia looking for Owens. Can't make the catch. Owens still doesn't have a catch. It'll be second down and 10. Bobby Taylor with great coverage on Owens down the sideline.
Yeah, and Philadelphia likes to give a lot of looks. They're going to come here, which is called a 3-cloud, and they go one-on-one on the backside on Terrell Owens. Jeff Garcia does a good job of recognizing it and seeing the one-on-one matchup. They're just unable to connect on it, but it's a good matchup right now. Bobby Taylor on Terrell Owens.
But Terrell Owens was loafing on the play. I don't know if he was trying to set up Bobby Taylor or what, but he did not come off the ball. He turned, he saw the ball in the air and accelerated. If he'd been running hard from the beginning, would have had a touchdown.
Second down and 10. Garcia drops it off and out of the reach of Barlow. Garcia ends up on his back, 3rd and 10. Corey Simon with more pressure.
You know, this is a football team that really gets their rush out of their interior too. Darwin Walker and Corey Simon, both guys with over 5 sacks. Simon now with 6 after the one today. And they don't get a lot of pressure from the guys on the outside because of some injuries to Derek Burgess and the injury earlier to Jerome McDougal. So those 2 guys up front, not only great run stuffers, but they have to be the pass rushers as well.
And that's one of the reasons why their production level has dropped, because of the injuries. They're not getting the substitutions and the rest that Jim Johnson normally would like to give those guys.
Blitz coming from the Eagles. Garcia looking to set up a screen. Barlow, the intended receiver. And it was pressure by N.D. Kalu that foiled that screen pass. It's time for the 49ers to punt.
You know, and I've never felt that the Eagles were a good team to try to run screens against. They do such a good job of recognizing when an offense is trying to run the screen play. They usually get pressure up inside with their defensive front. Their linebackers see the screen very, very well. San Francisco's tried a couple times now to no success.
A shank. This may be one of the ugliest punts in the history of the league.
I'm not even sure he punted it for a first down. It was 4th and 10, and I'm not sure.
He's not even close.
He didn't. He was short of the first down for the punt.
They're going to mark the ball at the 40. That was an 8-yard punt.
How about his day so far? Fumbled a snap, shanked a punt. Happy New Year.
Saturday, it's a Fox NFL special beginning with America's favorite pregame show. As JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy get you ready for kickoff. Hopes alive. They take on these 49ers. Matchup in the NFC West. Coverage begins Saturday at 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific here on Fox. Dallas is in. Green Bay with their destiny in their own hands as Deuce Staley breaks free and has a first down at the San Francisco 21, a gain of 19. This San Francisco defense a week ago was torn up by the running game by the Cincinnati Bengals, and it is looking much the same dealing with the Eagles.
And right now you have a San Francisco defense that is much smaller across the front line than this Philadelphia Eagles offense. And talking with some of the offensive linemen down on the field before the game, their feeling was they could just maul San Francisco, and so far they're doing a pretty good job of it.
On first down, McNabb looking to put it up. Does. The end zone thrash. They're going to throw a flag on Carpenter. Played the ball and it hit Carpenter in the back. Like he impeded Thrash's ability to get to the pass, and they threw the flag.
Well, the official will never get an easier call to make for pass interference. Dwayne Carpenter here on James Thrash, and you're right, Joe, he never turns around, never looks for the ball, and just runs right into James Thrash prior to the ball arriving. You know, we talked about his inexperience playing, also his inexperience at the cornerback position, and it has shown up already here in this first half.
And one of the problems, if you want to blitz, you want to bring pressure, you've got to put your corners out there in one-on-one situations, and there's just no way that Carpenter's going to hold up. He just doesn't have the experience.
So it's first and goal from the 1. Staley, easy touchdown. So they had one taken away on that play by Parrish, knocking it out of the hands of Pinkston. But the Eagles get it back and mark it down, and this time officially take the lead.
Well, they get the big run by Deuce Staley on the first play. They come back with the play action and get the pass interference, come back again with Deuce Staley off tackle. This offensive line doing a good job of getting movement. Deuce Staley not even touched until he crosses the goal line.
Akers makes it a 7-point lead. So Deuce Staley, whose future here in Philadelphia is very much in doubt. You know, they obviously love Westbrook. They have Buckhalter, who, as a punishment, is not active for this game for missing meetings and being late to practice yesterday. But I think when you talk to these guys, and I know you guys have heard the same thing, they're really impressed with the way Staley has handled the situation. And it's really from his leadership that this whole back by committee is.
Well, I don't think there's any question. He's been very unselfish, as has the whole football team. I know this for a fact. A number of teams inquired about trying to make a trade for Deuce Staley prior to the trade deadline. The Eagles did not want to do that because they knew how valuable he was for the remainder of this year.
And you know what was interesting? Deuce Staley came out for the first time all season. He was introduced as the starter. And instead of just run out on the field by himself, he brought Brian Westbrook with him. So, I mean, that's what this guy is trying to do. He's trying to portray this as a team thing. It's been working. And I think, from my standpoint, one of the biggest differences between the Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers, they're a team. You know, they are a team. There's no backbiting. There's nothing within this football team that's divisive. They always try and pick each other up no matter what's going on, and that's the reason they are where they are.
And I think you could say that about them being a team in each of the year that Andy Reid has been the head coach.
Akers kicks it away, and Cedric Wilson for it from inside the 5. Finds a lane, crosses the 30, and a flag comes flying in. You know, Pam Oliver talked about Donovan McNabb and him talking about Terrell Owens and maybe adding him next year. It's a hold against San Francisco.
Holding, number 57, during the return, be a 10-yard penalty. First down.
Things have changed a little bit last couple of weeks with the 49ers. San Francisco now believes that they can get a deal done with Julian Peterson if he looks for a bonus in the $13 million range, somewhere in there, like an Urlacher, as opposed to a $19 million Ray Lewis bonus. Then they can tag Terrell Owens. He won't be happy with it, but then get some material back and letting Owens walk away, trading Terrell Owens then and getting something in return. But I think it's pretty clear that Owens will not be back with San Francisco. Another penalty flag, and it's a hold against the 49ers. They're going backward.
Joe, and I think when you talk about whether or not Terrell Owens would fit here with the Philadelphia Eagles, I'm sure Donovan McNabb would like to have Terrell Owens here, as would a lot of other quarterbacks around the National Football League. But one of the reasons, as we've talked about, that Philadelphia has been so successful.
Holding, number 66, offense, 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
Has been because there are no superstars on this team. It's a very unselfish approach. And obviously some of the antics, some of the things that Terrell Owens has gone through over the course of his career, I think management, Andy Reid, and the other coaches have to wonder whether or not he would be a good fit here.
So back to the 10. It's first down at 20. Top of that, Owens just turned 30. And he is not having a great year by his standards. And this guy, no doubt, Barlow breaks loose. I tell you, they have found a back in Kevin Barlow. And as we talked about, if he can hang on to the football, he is a big, thick-legged back that seems to have a pretty good burst. As Nate Wayne is down and in some pain, he'll get attention from the training staff for the Eagles. On top of that, Carlos Emmons is down.
They're two starting outside linebackers, and Nate Wayne hurt his ankle before the Monday Night Football game against Miami. And of course, Carlos Emmons has a cast on both hands. He has a bad thumb on the one hand, and on the other side, he's got stitches on his palm where the bones in his hand literally popped right out of his palm. Ooh. So he's both these guys in a lot of pain.
You can see Wayne at the end of it, but before that, just before getting out of the frame, you look at Emmons on your right, 51. He gets undercut and knocked backward, and he's flat on his back. So both starting outside linebackers, Nate Wayne and Carlos Emmons, are getting looked at.
Well, not to mention Cris, their backup. He's been sick all week long. They didn't know whether or not he would even suit up for this game. He is, in fact, here, and he can play. But they are very thin at the linebacker position.
And this is a defense that has struggled stopping the run this season. So you may see a bit of a change in the game plan if these two guys aren't in there, especially Carlos Emmons. And I'm a little surprised the 49ers haven't tried to run at him more. Anytime you've got a guy with two casts, one on each hand, you know he's not going to be able to grab and pull and tackle and do some of the things that a linebacker can typically do.
I'd try to get him in pass coverage. At least he won't intercept the ball. Right? I mean, can't possibly catch it, can he?
And he came in to meet with us, and he's frustrated. Whether it's a knee or an ankle, it's the left leg. On the other side, Ron Stone. We need an update on Stone. Let's go back down to Pam Oliver.
Well, Joe, they just took Ron Stone in for x-rays. It came back negative, but he's been downgraded to questionable. We'll keep an eye on the Eagles injuries and get back with you in a sec.
All right, thanks. So from Pam Oliver to a game break. James Brown is standing by in Los Angeles.
Hey, fellas, take a look here. Trent Dilfer in at quarterback for Seattle, going up top. Wow, what an outstanding pick there by Ronaldo Hill. Arizona still fighting, playing hard, although they're trailing 21-3 to Seattle. But props on the heads-up play. Back to Joe Buck.
All right, JB. Well, they brought the card out for Emmons. Wayne got up and didn't look to be too bad getting over to the sideline, but Emmons, he's hurt.
This is just such a major injury, in my opinion. Eagles defense. Remember, they have not been a dominant defense. Troy, you hit on it a little bit in the opening, but to take one of their top football players down, it looks like they're looking more at his leg than they are his hands. And so the possibility of a longer term type of injury going into the playoffs, very, very serious for this franchise now.
Well, and the hit that we saw, him getting rolled up, it really did not look all that severe. It didn't appear that he was going to be hurt all that badly. But sometimes, I've got to tell you, in my experiences, sometimes when they don't look that serious, sometimes that's when they come back and you have the most damage done. We hope that, obviously, Carlos Emmons is able to come back and play at some point the rest of this year.
We've got the pump out to pump air into that temporary cast they're going to put on the left leg. And again, it's impossible to figure out what it is, whether it's an ankle or something higher like a knee. But Emmons will be carted off the field, and as Pam said, we'll get an update on his condition soon as possible. We told you what's coming up next Saturday, and that is the Seattle-San Francisco game with the Seahawks trying to hang in there. Next Sunday at 12 Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, we hit the air with Fox NFL Sunday. And then those games, including the Dallas Cowboys taking on the New Orleans Saints. And again, that's at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific here on Fox. And Troy, with your history with the Dallas Cowboys, and it looks like that injury is down low below the knee with Emmons. The job that Bill Parcells has done to get them back into the playoffs, first time in the last 4 years, to do it with that group. And there haven't been a ton of changes from the team that finished 5-11 a year ago. It is remarkable the job he has done in Dallas.
Remarkable to say the least, Joe. Having some idea as to what exactly Bill Parcells was faced with when he went and accepted that job and getting around, I'm as surprised as anybody that he's been able to do it in such a short period of time. And you're right, he's done it without really the addition of a whole lot of players. But congratulations to them. I know it's been a long time since they've made postseason play, and they're excited about the chance.
Well, another layer removed now from this Eagles defense, apparently. You think of all the injuries to good players on this team. Derek Burgess lost for the season. Hollis Thomas, Paul Grassmanis. They just don't have the depth to be able to rotate in and do some of the things they're going to have. That is a major, major blow for Philadelphia's defense.
On top of that, the hip flexor injury on the part of Troy Vincent is nothing that they are taking too lightly. We're talking about certainly being out next week and then wondering his availability for the playoffs. What a play. And that is fresh into the game. Keith Adams, who took over for Nate Wayne.
Yeah, and Joe, the way he comes in right after Nate Wayne coming out of the game, and he hits this hole like an absolute rocket. He reads it all the way. You're going to see him coming into your screen here. And there he is, and he just beats the lineman and is able to make the play.
The one thing that Keith Adams does on special teams, the wedge buster. You could see it. He was busting the wedge. That's all he did.
3rd down and 4. Nate Wayne is back in the lineup for Philadelphia. Garcia down the sideline. Tipped and incomplete. Lito Shepherd was standing there looking at an interception, but it was knocked away. And Garcia has thrown 6 consecutive incompletions.
I thought the biggest difference in this defense watching them last week against the Miami Dolphins was the play of Brian Dawkins. If Brian Dawkins is right, he is everything to this defense. He has the ability to play one-on-one receivers. He's their best blitzer. He's the one that coordinates this defense. Brian Dawkins is the superstar on this team.
Much better punt this time from LaFleur, and a fair catch called for by Westbrook. 38-yard punt into the wind, and the Eagles with the lead will take over at their own 36. A report on Carlos Emmons. Here's Pam Oliver.
All right, Joe, you saw that he was carted into the locker room. They're worried right now about his left ankle. He has some type of injury to it. They have taken him into the locker room for x-rays. His return is obviously extremely doubtful. We'll get an update on Nate Wayne and get back to you.
All right, he got back in on the next play, so whatever it was wasn't too serious. Dawkins the one to knock down that 3rd down pass from Garcia. And the Eagles have it leading by 7. Staley. A gain of only 1. Derek Smith, the linebacker, was there with Travis Kershke.
You talk about the job that this offensive line has done for the Philadelphia Eagles, and they've had a number of injuries over the course of this season, but they've been able to put in some backup players, and the guy who's really been responsible for making all that happen has been their offensive line coach, Juan Castillo, who does a great job preparing the 6th and 7th offensive linemen to come in those situations. Of course, Artis Hicks served that role last week against Miami.
McNabb is in trouble and brought down. That's Young with a sack back near the 20. They're going to mark him at the 23. Bryant Young, who has only 6 sacks in his last 45 games coming in, wraps up McNabb for a 14-yard loss.
And Julian Peterson's really the guy that makes this play. Not only did he get the jam on the crossing route, he was able to pick John Ritchie up in the flat. And that's the reason they feel like that Julian Peterson is probably the best player on this team, and the reason that he is their top priority in free agency and not terrible.
Well, Donovan McNabb right there, he has got to unload that football. He had time to throw it away and not take the sack. Not a very good decision on his part.
3rd down and 22, and the Eagles run it. Westbrook just buys a little real estate. That's it, a gain of 10, and it's time for a Philadelphia punt. You know, you talked about the guys filling in and the work that's been done by these Eagles assistant coaches, whether it's Castillo, Childress, Shermer, the quarterback's coach, whatever it is. It even goes above that with Tom Heckert, who is the vice president player personnel, and the job he does scanning the waiver wires. Jimmy Williams backing up as he hauls in the punt from Johnson. And he went nowhere. Well covered by the Eagles.
Well, one of the major differences in this game so far has been the kicking game. The dropped hold on the field goal and the punting horribly on the part of the 49ers and tremendous on the part of the Eagles.
Just let go of a 54-yarder and only a 5-yard return, but Garcia and company back to work, down by 7.
Now, you mentioned some of those assistant coaches, Joe, and the job that they've done. There's no question with the success that the Eagles have had, not only this year, but in the previous years as well. There's going to be a number of these guys that are going to move up. Some will move up and become coordinators. Some of the coordinators will move up and become head coaches. And right now, Brad Childress is one, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, who's probably going to be getting a lot of opportunities to interview with some of these jobs that will be opening up.
Play action. Garcia, another incompletion. The throw was behind his intended receiver, Lloyd.
Right now, the Philadelphia Eagles secondary, even without Troy Vincent, they're just eating the 49ers alive on both sides of the field. Lito Shepherd doing a great job in bump and run man-to-man coverage. They've got T.O. on the other side completely. And T.O., Joe, you may have hit on the best point of the day so far when you talked about would he get
pale white and started to sweat.
Well, I mean, it was 5 minutes into the game, but so far he does look frustrated out there.
No catches today for Owens. 2nd down and 10. On the ground, it's Barlow, nowhere to go.
It's just a major difference in there without Ron Stone in the lineup. He and Jeremy Newberry are the main focal point when the 49ers want to run the football. When that guy is not in there, they are not a tremendous running team.
What do you think, just looking at that picture? Is he coming back?
He looks awfully comfortable over there on that heated bench.
I think he needs a drink with an umbrella in it.
3rd down and 10. Garcia throws on the run and hits Streets for a 1st down. Ty Streets is out of bounds at the 45-yard line, a completion of 27 yards.
Well, Jeff Garcia almost didn't even see Ty Streets. They completely turned him loose into the zone. He's able to work up into the middle of the zone right in here. Jeff Garcia, because of pressure, he's able to get the ball to him late.
Do you see what they're doing to Terrell Owens? Every time they bring him in short motion and try and drag him across the field, there's somebody waiting there for him. That time it was Michael Lewis, and because it's within that 5-yard bump area, they're just laying some lumber on him.
Well, because he drew 3 guys, that's what opened up the lane there for Ty Streets. Nobody covered him.
Garcia fires and finds Owens for the first time today, out of bounds at the 35. 3:06 remaining in the half, and just in case, plenty of time on the clock, but San Francisco has 2 timeouts left.
Got Terrell Owens working a corner route. Just able to get a little bit of a push there on Bobby Taylor, get Bobby Taylor turned around. Nobody there to cover him. That's when Terrell Owens is most dangerous, is when he's able to catch the football and have room to run.
Especially today, working on a guy like Bobby Taylor, and there have been question marks about his tackling over the years. Handoff is to Barlow, running right. A gain of 3.
It is funny, though, watching the Philadelphia Eagles play defense. The minute you hit a couple of plays against them, here they come. I mean, that is their antidote to almost everything. It looks like Terrell Owens may have been injured on that last play. He's heading straight for the locker room.
Part of the training staff trying to catch up to him. So Owens is in the dressing room, or will be, it appears, for the rest of this half as the clock ticks for the 2-minute warning. A blitz, and Garcia flips it up for Lloyd. It is caught. Brandon Lloyd in for the score. What a catch by Brandon Lloyd, the rookie out of Illinois. He went around Lito Shepherd and just flat out took it away from him.
Well, the reason they were able to get the one-on-one matchup is, like Chris said, Jim Johnson elects to bring the pressure. He brings it to Garcia's front side. You're going to see the slant and go right there. It's one-on-one, and Lloyd's able to go up and muscle him for the ball.
I mean, Lito Shepherd could not have played that any better. They pick up the blitz. Jeff Garcia just tosses it up. And how much does he like Brandon Lloyd? They really feel like that Brandon Lloyd is going to be a #1 receiver on this team very soon.
Got him in the 4th round out of Illinois at that time. 2 1,000-yard seasons for the Illini, and this time Lloyd is into the end zone for the 2nd time in his NFL career. Tremendous catch, and here in Philadelphia we're tied at 14. Hung in there against the blitz, flipped it up, and his rookie Brandon Lloyd came down with it. We go back a couple of plays ago and find out why Terrell Owens ended up in the locker room injuring his shoulder, his left shoulder, obviously, on that tackle by Michael Lewis. So he's in there getting looked at. And the 49ers have just tied this game with 1:58 remaining, and the Eagles will get the ball back. They have 3 timeouts left, and Thrash is waiting for the kick. Definitely into the wind. Thrash about the 15. Jimmy Williams first to get there. And marked down at the 27 is James Thrash, a return of 12 yards. Coming up in the Visa halftime, AB Terry, Howie, and Jimmy will have scores and highlights from around the league. And the Fox Sports ticker is up to the second scores and stats, plus an update from Fox News.
It's good to hear that Terry now is a fan of this Philadelphia Eagles offense, because they're going down the field more, Troy Aikman. That's what he said. They're going down the field, and so now he likes it.
I noticed a marked difference on the faces of these Eagles players, the offensive guys, when they came on the field today, probably having watched because of that.
They gave him a lift.
First down, and the handoff is to Staley. Made the most out of that as he gets up to the 31, a gain of 4.
You know, what I thought was interesting was coming into this game, we were talking about the Eagles and their ability to spread out the 49ers defensively because of the injuries in the secondary, but yet it's the 49ers and Jeff Garcia that have been throwing the football all over the yard here in the first half and have had success doing it.
Second down at 6. Blitz pass is caught. It's an impressive catch by Freddie Mitchell.
Freddie Mitchell's really been playing a lot better as of late. He's finally found a niche in this offense, and I think that niche is making those tough catches over the middle. He's proven to be a pretty tough guy.
Freddie will tell you he's always been playing well.
He's 7'11", isn't he?
Always open.
There you go.
Penalty flag on the snap, and it's like it's a false start.
How about Donovan McNabb?
False start. Left guard, 5-yard penalty, remains. First down.
How about who?
McNabb.
How about him?
Guy that, what did he tell us? He said he just had to relax. You know, he's coming out, and Andy Reid compared him to Brett Favre. So he comes out like a linebacker for a game, and sometimes he just has to talk him into a better mood. Just settle down a little bit. And that's exactly what he's been doing lately.
First down at 15. McNabb down from behind. That's Engelberger, a future unrestricted free agent. No loss on the play, and it's 2nd and 15.
Well, and the Eagles have timeouts. I don't understand why they're not burning them. Now they go ahead and they call it, but they wasted some valuable time. And if you're going to live with Donovan McNabb and some of the plays that he makes when he scrambles and avoids the pass rush and gets the ball down the field, then you have to live with the times that he's not able to get rid of the football and he doesn't feel the pressure. One of the most sacked quarterbacks in the National Football League, and that's why.
Well, one thing we haven't seen him do very much of today is simply take off and run with the ball. And obviously, anytime he's stepping up in the pocket and running, it's a completely different offense. I just think that even if you have to call a few of them, you've got to get him on the move, because you can see defenses just react so much differently. It slows down their pass rush. They're having to stay in their lanes more. Sit him back there in the pocket. It's not all the weapons that he has to give to this team.
All those weapons that were on display on Monday night in Miami, where he really came up with a tremendous effort. And once the Eagles got past that game, they looked ahead. They had the home game against the 49ers. They haven't won on the road this season. They have a game at Washington, and they may be in a spot where they have to win the final 2 games of the regular season to secure the home field advantage throughout the NFC playoffs. Inside handoff to Staley. He gets out to the 40, about 7 yards shy of a first down, and Philadelphia will use their second timeout. Some more headliners from earlier this afternoon, Week 16. Steve McNair, who somehow, with last week being the exception, always seems to answer the bell. And Cris, I think you made the point during a break that by clinching that spot, which the Tennessee Titans today, it at least buys them a week, if they so choose, to sit McNair on the bench and let him try to get a little more healthy.
That's when I make all my best points.
During the break.
Right, yeah. Just like to fill you guys in, keep you entertained.
And then we use your stuff during the game.
Yeah, works out well.
Only one timeout left for Philadelphia, and it's 3rd down and 7. Marshall Faulk, another big day. Something else you talked about in the break, Cris, in the running game. And maybe it wouldn't be impossible for the St. Louis Rams, if they had to come up here to Philadelphia and give the Eagles a game. McNabb, a little pump fake, looking for Thrash, and he's overthrown. Covered downfield by Carpenter. They keep finding Dwayne. This time it's incomplete. It's 4th and 7.
And you would think that these receivers would be having a little bit of a field day, especially against Carpenter, and so far they haven't been able to take advantage of it. And Troy, we've talked about it in the past. I thought this was a game that we might really see a breakout game out of these Eagles receivers, because so many of the guys are hurting out of San Francisco's secondary, but not so far.
Jimmy Williams takes in that knuckling punt. And he is popped. That was Mike Bartram, who's the long snapper downfield to make the tackle, a return of 4 yards.
Of course, we have seen the Eagles take their shots on that last play. James Thrash had a step, maybe 2 steps on Dwayne Carpenter. Donovan McNabb just not able to deliver the ball. And then obviously on the other one to Todd Pinkston when he fumbles it going into the end zone. But they've had their opportunities to get the ball down the field. They've taken their shots, but have not taken advantage of them.
Let's listen to the hit by Bartram. Solid. Do you get the feeling that the 49ers have kind of weathered the storm a little bit, have gotten past that rough stretch? This could have blown it open, and maybe the 49ers say, well, forget that first road win, and now we're in for a game in the second half where the 49ers feel like they've got a shot.
Yeah, especially since the Eagles had the win for that quarter and they came out of there tied, so it was a win for San Francisco.
It will be tied 14-14 at the half. We're glad you're with us. Stay with us. Second half coming up right after the Visa halftime report with JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy right after this. It's a message and a word from your local Fox station. Happy holidays. Second half from Philadelphia coming up. Night has fallen on Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We're 14-14. Getting ready for the start of the second half. The key injuries, look at that one at the top. Terrell Owens, broken collarbone. The knee injury suffered by Ron, and an ankle injury suffered by Carlos Emmons. For more on that, let's go down to Pam Oliver.
All right, Joe. Andy Reid very specific about what he wants to see from the team in the second half. He says, first of all, I want better protection for Donovan McNabb. Defensively, he says we got to shore up our run defense. Kevin Barlow with 88 yards rushing in the first half. Now, Dennis Erickson obviously bothered by the TO injury. As you may have heard, it's a broken collarbone. He says, obviously, our 4-wide stuff goes out the window. We have just got to focus on running the ball. Back to you.
All right, Pam. And one other injury before we start the second half. I think we should talk about Richie Zients, our producer, banging his head on the production truck on his way into the stadium today. To the hospital, stitched up, right back to work.
Well, you know, our director, Artie Kempner, likes to bang his head on things, and Richie thought he'd give it a shot, but you're not supposed to go after the edge of the truck. You're supposed to go up the flat part of it.
And outside of Richie referring to us as Pat and John afternoon, I think he's been pretty much the same. This is picked up by Williams as that ball checked up, and it is down at the 22. Williams will get his heart restarted after that scare, with the ball basically coming to a stop. And we look at the first half stats. Rushing yards, that little battle won by San Francisco. The passing yards overall, the offense only 62 yards in the air for Philadelphia.
Well, and I think if you're Philadelphia, you've got to be a little bit concerned because of the way that the 49ers have been able to move the football, not only on the ground, but also throwing the ball. And Philadelphia has allowed them to stay in it. They have not given the Niners a reason to quit.
Get word on the injury to Carlos Emmons as Barlow turned that into a nice run out to the 29. Here's Carlos Emmons, who's playing with casts on both hands. He's playing through a ton of pain. They need him out on the field. And Weffer, our word is fractured fibula, his left leg, and That is terrible news for a guy who has just had a tremendous season here in Philadelphia.
He really has, Joe. He's had a great year. And in talking with the coaches and the other players on this team, when you ask them who's had the great year, who's the most underrated guy on this team, to a man, they always pointed to Carlos Emmons and what he's meant to this team. Huge loss for this football team.
So that means more playing time for Ike Reese. He's the backup really at all three linebacker spots. End around Cedric Wilson. And there's Ike. Couldn't bring him down. Now he does. Back at the 25. A loss on the play of 4.
And Ike Reese now finally getting his opportunity to play. He's been really a career backup. Every year when they lose a linebacker and they think that Ike Reese is going to be the guy who's going to step in and be the starter, then they bring in somebody else to be that guy. But he's been a great special teams player for this team. And the reason that he's so effective is because of his speed. He's able to make the play here by his pursuit running laterally.
Bobby Taylor showing you his backpedaling ability.
From the 25, it's 3rd down and 8. Crowd climbs into it, and it's Barlow. Without Terrell Owens, they run it on 3rd down and 8. Brought down at the 29, a gain of only 4. Nate Wayne on the stop.
Kevin Barlow looked to me like he had an opportunity to keep that one outside. He decided to cut it back. One of the big differences between he and Garrison Hurst is that typically he stays on the whole side, and I thought if he had stayed with that one, he had a chance.
Westbrook waiting for the punt from LaFleur. Punting with the wind. This is a beauty. All the way back, well inside the 25. Good return by Westbrook. Look out. LaFleur is in his way. Westbrook looking for the end zone. Brian Westbrook has done it again.
Rocky Balboa lives.
His second of the season. Not as big as his first, which started this 9-game winning streak, but in an effort to make it a franchise best 10 in a row, the Eagles are back on top after this 81-yard return from Westbrook.
Well, the guys up inside just do a pretty good job of shielding him off, and you saw the room that he had to get up the middle of the field, and then after that it's just a foot race and they're not going to be able to catch him. I think you're looking at the team MVP right there.
A special teams nightmare thus far for the 49ers.
It's 21-14 Philadelphia. The punt return for the touchdown at the Meadowlands, 84 yards, October 19th. This one, week 16 for the Eagles. Westbrook, 81 yards, and they're up by 7. Yeah, thanks for taking my call. Yo, I got a question. How can the Eagles let Brian Mitchell walk away? Well, they had Brian Westbrook waiting in the wings, and in his 13th touchdown of the season, his second returning punts, he's put the Eagles on top 21-14. Mitchell went to the Giants. Westbrook is getting the action for the Eagles. Cedric Wilson. That is well covered.
That was a good Philly accent there, Joe.
Thanks, Troy.
Got that down.
You're used to hearing it.
Yeah.
Not saying that, but
I mean, all you do is sign autographs for these people down in front, and that's the love they show you.
They don't know love here.
No, well, they don't know.
They don't know what they don't know.
They don't know Aikman love.
they love that guy. I know that.
He's got the fastest selling jersey going off the racks this holiday season for the Eagles. Barlow on a toss, running right. Simoneau strung it out, and Barlow lost 2.
A major difference on this Eagles defense this year. Mark Simoneau replaced Levon Kirkland. Kirkland, a huge guy, over 300 pounds, and Simoneau, a very small guy. And he's really fortunate to have Corey Simon, Darwin Walker lining up in front of him, because it gives him the ability to do what he does best, which is run sideline to sideline.
2nd down and 12. Garcia steps up and hits Barlow. Had a steam for Barlow, and he is brought down. Looked like about a half-yard shy of a first down. Bobby Taylor on the stop.
Kind of an interesting test now for the San Francisco 49ers. They have a tough decision to make about Terrell Owens, and a lot of speculation about are they going to re-sign him, not re-sign him. Well, now they're going to get a chance to take a look at what this offense looks like without him.
They're going to bring out the chains and measure. Looked like Barlow was, as I said, a half-yard shy. We'll see if that holds up. Third and inches coming up for San Francisco. Terry Donahue is one of the people in charge of making those decisions.
You know, Jeff Garcia is not out of the running with that decision either. There's a possibility with the way that Tim Rattay has been playing that they had to spend their money on Terrell Owens and Peterson and their two cornerbacks and take a shot with Rattay.
Your former coach, Troy, looks like cat in the hat down there. Third down and inches. Garcia will take it himself and make it.
Well, I know talking about Terry Donahue and some of the decisions that he has to make, and then also what has come into question this year, some of the decisions that he already made, that being the firing of course, of Steve Mariucci and then bringing in Dennis Erickson, and was in fact that the move that was in the best interest of this football team. I know last year a lot of people felt that this team had the talent to go all the way to the Super Bowl, but based on what they've done this year, you wonder, and you have to ask the question, have they taken steps backwards?
Yes.
Answered by Cris on a heartbeat. First down and 10. Garcia has with Cedric Wilson with a catch down at the 45.
And I'm not sure exactly what Philadelphia is thinking right there. You got Cedric Wilson in the slot, and he's just running a seam route. It's 4 seams on the play, and nobody covers him up, so he gets a free release. He's just going to come straight up the field. There's a very easy catch right there.
Well, our man Indy Kalu is dropping back in that zone blitz coverage. Typically, when you see that, you'll see him trying to initiate contact so some of the blitzers can get by. That's the second time this game we've seen him get beat in pass coverage, but he should. He's a defensive end.
49ers getting a little taste of life without Terrell Owens. Out with a broken collarbone. That pass is complete to Lloyd. No gain on the play. Bobby Taylor was there for a quick tackle.
It is interesting, though. We had a conversation with Jeff Garcia, and he really does like some of the other guys. Brandon Lloyd, Cedric Wilson. He feels like that because of the fact that he's been practicing so much with those guys. Streets and Terrell Owens haven't been practicing because of injuries. He's starting to get really comfortable with those guys. But whether or not they could step up, either one of them, and be a true #1 receiver, I'd have to see that.
On second down and 10, Garcia sprints right and hits Weaver, the tight end. A big hit by Lewis, and Weaver is knocked down a couple short of a first down. Well, we listened to the hit by Bartram earlier on special teams. Here's Lewis.
I know. Talking with Brian Dawkins and asking him about some of these young secondary players, asked him about Michael Lewis, and he said the one thing about Michael Lewis is that he wants to hit everything just as hard as he can, and somehow he has to learn when to pull back and when to let it go. That time was a good time to let it go, but he has missed some tackles trying to give the knockout punch.
A quick snap count. The Eagles weren't ready for it, and Garcia takes it right up the middle for a first down.
That's called a goose. I don't think anybody on the 49ers line realized what was going on either. As soon as Jeff Garcia saw everybody set, he just gooses the center, and Newberry and Garcia move, and no one else does. Surprised everybody, including the San Francisco line. I think Newberry may have been the one to call it. Did you see him flap his arm back there? I think he was saying, "Let's go, boss."
Is that what he was saying?
Well, in sign language. That would be in sign language.
Robertson. Nifty move out of bounds with another first down.
That's what I'd call him if he had his hands there.
Well, you should always call the quarterback boss.
I know that's what you
Stepnoski
expect.
over the years did that. Here's our boss up here in the booth. Now, I've seen a lot of these celebrations. Everybody talking about wide receivers. What about quarterback celebrations? You got
what
Dante
about
Culpepper.
Oh, Yeah.
What your favorite, Dante?
You know, that's the Culpepper.
Right, that's the old Culpepper.
That's the old?
Yeah, well, this one now.
Is the quarterback that celebrates?
Did you celebrate?
I never got in the end zone.
Just on a touchdown throw. Garcia throws it to an open spot. Just got rid of it. No penalty flag on the play. You didn't throw a big touchdown throw. Michael Irvin into the end zone. He's doing his thing, pointing his arm forward, all that. You didn't do anything.
Is out of the pocket.
Between Michael and Deion Sanders, we had all the end zone celebrations that we needed. I mean, any effort on anybody else's part would not have looked good. It would have paled in comparison.
Just give us a little what you would have done, though.
No, I
Your wildest imagination.
I wouldn't have done anything. I wouldn't have done anything.
No.
Did you ever get in the end zone?
Don't try that. You want me to tell you about all 3 of my times?
All right, that awkward moment's over. Let's go back to the game. 2nd down and 10. Barlow. Nice run by Barlow. Gets to the 15, and then he's thrown backward by Lewis. In a 5, and the 49ers, an impressive drive here in the 3rd quarter as they find themselves down by 7. Barlow now is over 100 yards for the 2nd time in 3 weeks.
Yeah, he's really done a good job, and as we've talked about, this is his opportunity to prove to this organization that he can be the featured guy. It's something that he has wanted to do. He's wanted the entire role, and this being the 3rd week, other than the fumbles and the times he's turned it over, he really has done an exceptional job.
11th play of the drive coming up. It's a 3rd down. Blitz coming. And penalty flags. Got a free play, and it's out of the back of the end zone.
You know what's really interesting? They threw the flag for offsides, but he got back. The only way that it should have been offsides is if it had been unimpeded to the quarterback. But by getting back, he should have had every opportunity to get back. Nobody on the offense moved. They're going to give him 5 yards.
There's no infraction
There
on
you
the
go.
play. Your defensive player got back on side prior to the snap. 4th down.
Well, then to me, that's on the official, because if I'm the quarterback, and Troy, you know better than me, I see that flag, they let the play happen, I think I've got a free play.
There's no question. You see the flag, you know that you've got the call of them being offsides, because if it was on the offense, they would have blown the play dead. Instead, they don't. As a quarterback, you're thinking, I got a free play, take a chance, throw it into coverage. Could have been intercepted, and then you're right, it falls on the official.
And the automatic 1st down.
Well, this crew has had a rough year. Tim Rattay is taken over as the holder. Before bobbled one earlier, and this one is hooked through. Wasn't pretty, but it worked. 33-yard field goal. And Peterson is all smiles. But to me, the 49ers have every reason to be upset, thinking they had a free play. Garcia threw it out of the back zone, and they have to settle for 3. Terrell Owens is back onto the field. He's tired of listening to the game on television in the locker room, so he's back out to watch it for himself. It's 21-17. 4-point game. Philadelphia on top. 6:56 to go in the 3rd quarter. And the 49ers feel like they were deked by the officials. Peterson kicks it away, and this is Thrash. Thrash got across the 25, brought down to the 27. 21-yard return. The explanation, what can I say, Coach? What can I do? Erickson says, huh? What? Hello. What?
There's a lot of that.
Hello? When done in celebration of a touchdown, this can fetch you a 30-grand fine. But here with a guy who's out for the rest of the regular season after the injury, a cell phone on the playing field on the sideline for Terrell Owens. Who's on the other end? Don't even say it. It's too easy.
Santa. Now, does this mean that in the stadium now you have Santa booing?
Well, Jimmy Williams was down after that kick return, and he has finally been helped over to the sideline.
He looks kind of happy to have the rest of the day off. I think maybe he got wind of the fact that Donovan McNabb wanted him on the Eagles.
Or he just figured whoever's on the other end just told him he was on national TV with a phone in his hand.
So it's our fault.
Well, we played right into his hand.
There we go.
First possession this half for the Eagles.
We always do.
It's such a temptation, Brian. Wide open is Pinkston. Got behind Rumpf. And a huge completion from McNabb of 47 yards.
Well, now they're able to connect once again with Todd Pinkston. And by his own admission, Todd Pinkston says that he has not had a real solid year. But this is what he does well. When he gets the chance to go vertical, run by people as he does there with Mike Rumpf, he does a good job of, for the most part, pulling the ball in. And he's had a pretty big day here today, with the exception of fumbling the ball prior to going into the end zone.
And Mike Rumpf, a big long-legged guy, not able to readjust off that double move.
The Eagles hand it to Westbrook. That's well played, coming up from the linebacker spot, Derek Smith. Offensive leaders for the Philadelphia Eagles. Donovan McNabb, his day, not too great. Only 8 out of 12, 134 yards, and that last 47-yarder to Pinkston helps his stat sheet look a little better. Deuce Staley, 2 touchdown rushes, 22 on the season for the Philadelphia Eagles offense. And Pinkston now is knocking on the door of a 100-yard day, and that would be monumental for the Eagles. McNabb is in trouble. Dodges it, hits Westbrook, who's brought down immediately by Ulbrich. For a word on what happened to Jimmy Williams, let's go back down to Pam Oliver.
Hey, Joe, the bleeding just doesn't stop for the San Francisco 49ers. Their primary punt report. Say that fast with a frozen face. Jimmy Williams, he has a left MCL sprain. He is questionable as to his return.
Pam is out there in the elements, freezing, and we're up here in a nice, cozy booth.
Primary punt returner, I think, is where she was trying to go with that.
3rd down and 8 for Philadelphia. Up by 4. 49ers are coming. McNabb flips it up, and it's incomplete, out of the reach of Thrash.
Thrash is sick right now. He made a good move, got to the inside. There was no free safety, blitz coverage. He knew he was going to be wide open. McNabb just couldn't hold it any longer.
It looked like Rashad Holmes got away with contact right there beyond the 5 yards.
This will bring on Akers, who will be kicking into the wind, a 42-yard try. Could have made a strong case for Akers going to the Pro Bowl. He was beaten out by Jeff Wilkins of St. Louis, who has had a phenomenal season. Sai has made 13 straight. He has hit a wall of wind. That thing got to the end zone and stopped. It dropped short, well short, and the 49ers will take over. This thing was right down the middle, looked like it had plenty of leg and distance until it got to the end zone. Short, and it's still a 4-point game. The old Santa was getting an early lift on the 21st of December on Flying Fox right down the field, getting a good look at that huddle for the 49ers. And to the line of scrimmage they go, down by 4.
So that's the reindeer cam now.
Yeah,
there you go.
Barlow with a blocker out in front of him, cuts it upfield, a nice run out to the 39-yard line, a gain of 7.
Kevin Barlow's had a terrific game here today, bouncing back after the fiasco in Cincinnati, in which he clearly gave it up for this football team, a game that they could have won but for his fumbles. And Jeff Garcia continues his good play.
There's the day for Barlow. Over 100 yards again. As far as the wide receivers, we have seen a tremendous circus-like catch from Brandon Lloyd for a touchdown. Barlow fights his way for a first down and then gets shoved out of bounds, but no flag.
And this is one of the reasons why the Eagles have had problems shutting down the running game. They just have not done a real good job of tackling people at times. And you're going to see N.D. Kalu, who steps up, and he has a chance right there to make the play, but Kevin Barlow's able to slip him and end up picking up the first down. But a play that ND Clue should have been able to make.
You know, the other thing that I saw on tape watching them against Miami was Darwin Walker every once in a while would get so much penetration, he creates some running lanes in behind it, and it's exactly what happened there.
On first down, Garcia throws, and that's knocked down by Taylor. Jed Weaver was out there, the tight end, but Taylor got up and knocked it down.
That's Bobby Taylor from Longview, Texas, coming off the edge on the blitz. And they have a good call on with the blitz. Jeff Garcia trying to run the naked boot to that side, and pretty fortunate that Bobby Taylor didn't intercept that one. He would have gone all the way for a touchdown.
Bobby Taylor was a great basketball player in high school, one of the top in the state of Texas, and a lot of people thought he might end up playing basketball, but kind of surprised there, Troy, didn't make that play. That was a catchable ball.
Second down and 10. Handoff is to Robertson. Nice little burst by Robertson. He's got a first down, still going out of bounds near the 30. 49ers will not go away, and to their credit, after falling behind, they have stayed in this game, trying to come up with their first road victory of the season.
And on the outside, the Eagles were in man coverage, which is why this was able to pop so late. Watch, there's going to be nobody out here because they're chasing receivers down the field.
But again, missed tackles is what enabled him to get to the corner and pick up all those yards. Should have been tackled at the line of scrimmage. Of course, the wide receivers doing a good job down the field, helping him get those yards on the ground.
Robertson stays in. Ball at the Philadelphia 30. Jamal picks his way, hit by Michael Lewis as he got to the 26, a gain of 4.
And as well as the Philadelphia Eagles have been playing during this tremendous win streak, and we've talked about it many times, they do struggle trying to stop the run. And now, as other guys go out of this lineup, Carlos Emmons now out of the lineup, they don't have the depth. Now Darwin Walker and Corey Simon, they can't play 70 plays in a game. So you're forced to play guys that you really don't want to have on the field. And the longer these kind of drives go on, the more they're going to struggle against the run.
Second down and 6. Garcia now will run. And Jeff Garcia's got a first down, slides under a tackle after a pickup of 12 yards, another first down, and Michael Lewis went sailing over the top of Garcia.
Yeah, and that's what Jim Johnson was worried about with Jeff Garcia, as we talked about a little bit earlier. You're going to see it open up right up inside the big hole that Jeff Garcia has, and he looks for that. He'll come back and he'll look for his receivers, but if he feels separation there in the middle, he's going to take it, and he's going to get going north and south.
And I think Jim Johnson's going to chew out his defensive line because they parted like the Red Sea, opening it up for Jeff Garcia. You got to get in his face.
Barlow down to the 12, a gain of 1.
But right now, they're not worried about rushing Jeff Garcia. They're worried about trying to stop the run, so they're having to do some line stunts to try and get in there. But in talking with Jim Johnson, as far as rushing the passer, they wanted to loop their ends back inside because Garcia wants to hit his back foot, jump up in the pocket, and that's the way he throws the football best. But right now they're having to focus so much on the run, they're not concerned at all about the pass.
Yeah, you got those 2 defensive tackles that are just worn down, and that's a big result of why there's been the holes as well.
Second down and 9. Garcia's dropped from behind. It's Nate Wayne. And as you look at this Philadelphia Eagles defense, try to come up with answers for this 49er drive. Remember, the Eagles need to win here today to stay out in front in a tiebreaker situation of the St. Louis Rams, who took care of Cincinnati. They were impressive again today at home, 13 straight in the Dome in St. Louis, and it is a race for home field advantage. The Eagles clinched the division and a first-round bye with a win. Third down and 11. Garcia finds Beasley, the fullback. Stays on his feet, but he's short of a first down. And the field goal unit will come on for San Francisco with time winding down, and it is not a small point to make that if you are San Francisco, you want to kick it before the third quarter expires to kick it with the wind, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen.
Well, and that's why we saw Dennis Erickson on the sidelines trying to get his guys to hurry up, get this ball snapped. Doesn't look like it's going to happen, though.
Nope, they were unaware. And Erickson knows it. I mean, we just saw David Akers kick a ball the other end of the field that got to the end zone area and stopped. 49ers took too long, can't get it away before the end of the third quarter. They're trying to make it a one-point game here in Philadelphia. The NFL on Fox will continue after a word from your local Fox station. The Eagles on a 9-game winning streak, looking for a franchise best 10 in a row. McNabb has been on a tremendous streak until today, and doing it against literally a patchwork secondary for the 49ers. Without Webster, they're without Plummer, they're without Zach Bronson. But it has not been a good day through the air for the Eagles. A knuckler, which bounces inside the 30. And it is taken and returned out to the 35-yard line. Sean Morey on the return of 8 yards. And the Eagles will have it with a ball at their own 35, now leading by only 1. The game summary, Jeff Garcia, part of an offense that has gained 350 total yards compared to 192. That's it for the Eagles. Terrell Owens, a broken collarbone, suffered late in the first half, and Deuce Staley 2 rushing touchdowns. Opening this drive with a throw, and it is zipped in there and caught. A gain of 6. And it's John Ritchie, the fullback. Let's go out to JB for a game break.
Hey, Joe Buck, one consistent bright light for Arizona all season long. The rookie Anquan Bolden on the receiving end of this Josh McCown. Outstanding connection there. 7 catches, 107 yards on the day. NFL rookie receiving record, 93 receptions on the season. Next Saturday, it'll be Seattle at San Fran, right here on Fox at 5 Eastern. Back to Joe Buck.
All right, JB, thanks. Bryant Young ends up with the last hit on Deuce Staley. Gain of only 1. Third down coming up.
And a big hit by Bryant Young, who hasn't exactly been putting up Bryant Young type numbers the last couple of years. Had the sack today, so he's up to 3, 2.5 sacks last year. But here's a guy that averaged 8 sacks a season for his first 7 years in the league. Getting a little older now, but still a guy that very determined, plays hard, and certainly somebody you can win with.
Hey, this is a big third down right here. They need to try to keep their defense off the field to get them some rest.
Third down and 3. They hand the ball to Staley, and Deuce has got a first down.
You know, San Francisco, they've had the ball over 29 minutes in this ball game, and the Eagles only 17 minutes, and that's why we talked about, you know, that defensive line for the Eagles getting worn down. So that was a real critical third down, 1, to keep this possession alive and hopefully go down and get some points, but more importantly, to allow that Eagles defense to get some rest. And one of the things that I was most impressed with last Monday night with this Eagles offense was that when they had to answer and they needed to go down and make a play and score points, they were able to put drives together and do that.
Events against a very good Miami defense. Empty backfield on first down. Peterson coming on a blitz. That's tipped up for grabs. Still batted around, and it ends up in the arms of Westbrook. So like that is a roundabout completion for 2 yards.
Looked like a volleyball game broke out. Hank Fraley decided that he wasn't going to try and catch it, but he's going to tap it to a teammate. Couldn't tell exactly who it was. Thing shoots straight up in the air. Everybody in the world's thinking intercept. Then
kind of whiffed on it.
Fraley missed on his spike attempt. Then the guy that always seems to be there for this football team, Westbrook, makes the play.
It was actually a dig by Julian Peterson that kept the ball in the air. Only to be hauled down by Westbrook. Second down. Pass behind, but caught. That's Lewis. Good special teams player. And Greg Lewis has a first down and a 23-yard completion.
And he was running that on Mike Rump. If he just gets Mike Rump completely turned around, Greg Lewis in the slot, he's just going to run a little bit of a quick slant on him. You're going to see. And Rump just jumps out on, I don't know what you call that. I mean, It's man-to-man coverage across the board. He's got to be able to cover him a lot better than that. And Rumpf has struggled. I mean, he struggled last year, and he has continued to struggle this season for this team.
First-round pick last year out of Miami has been disappointing so far. On first down, McNabb got a block on the blitz and now pushes the pile forward for a gain of 1.
You know, Joe, you talked about the fact this has not been a great day for this Eagles offense that has been so hot. You think about where they've gotten their points. Garcia fumbled, gave them a very short field. They had a horrible punt, San Francisco did, a 9-yard punt, set up another touchdown, and then the Westbrook punt return. So offensively, they really haven't gotten very much done at all.
Donovan McNabb got kicked by one of these San Francisco defenders going by. So now, with bells ringing, he makes the call inside that huddle on 2nd down and 9. Play action to Staley. McNabb, plenty of time. It's tipped and incomplete. And well played in the middle of the field, Ulbrich.
And a pretty good design right there by Andy Reid in this passing game. You're going to see Chad Lewis, the tight end, come off the ball. He's going to act like he's going to the corner, plant, and then come back inside. He had an opportunity if he was able to get the ball down.
Big play right now for San Francisco. You can hold them to a long field goal attempt, which David Akers would probably be able to make because he's with the win. But to keep it a 4-point game would really be huge right now for San Fran, especially the way they're moving the ball offensively.
3rd down and 9. Blitz coming from San Francisco. McNabb flips it up for Pinkston. Incomplete. Rashad Holman was there defending, and there was pressure on the play again by Chidi Ahanatu.
Great play down the field by Rashad Holman. I thought we were going to get another pass interference call, but he kept his hands out of there until the last possible moment and was able to make the play.
You're going to see the reaction by Terry Donahue. The 49ers, Jim Mora Jr. right there, the defensive coordinator, he called an all-out blitz, no safety help whatsoever, a play Todd Pinkston still should have made.
47-yard try with the win for Akers, who had made 13 straight before the 42-yard try was knocked down by the wind, and this one is no good. A stutter step at the start, and Akers is 0 for 2 today.
And now you give the ball back to the 49ers with great field position.
With fans and players in St. Louis watching, wondering what's going to happen here in Philadelphia, the race for home field advantage. 49ers hanging in there. They get it back down by 1. During the break, Jim Mora Jr. reading poetry to Julian Peterson. 'Twas the week before Christmas and all through the link.
This offense for Philly struggled. Boy, did they stink. Oh, that's terrible. See, now you make me put that stuff on TV.
Barlow right up the middle. What a day for Barlow, adding to his afternoon of over 100 yards. He's got a first down. The reaction by David Akers, and it was a weird setup. He kind of stutter stepped on the snap, and he threw his very light and small helmet in frustration. But that's a guy, of all the kickers that we've seen make special teams plays, he makes tackles, and he's hot, and that's where his helmet ended up. It's first down for San Francisco, down by only 1. Eagles back out of the blitz, and Garcia is sacked by Kalu.
You know, their pressure today has been coming out of the 4-man rush, and that's really where they haven't been getting much pressure at all. And I don't know if that goes against Derek Deese. I would assume it does. And it's, how long was the streak, Troy? 33 games or something like that without a sack?
Games.
Well, it just ended. You know, I mean, he tried to help down on the tackle, and I'm not sure what Derek was thinking. I think he realizes he had a complete mental on the play. No question, N.D. Kalu was coming on the blitz. Derek Deese should have been there to block him.
But not allowed a full sack in 31 games. Deese. Play clock winding down. 2nd down and 13. Quick setup and throw. That Streets stays on his feet. And And he is out to the 49-yard line. Third down coming up. A completion of 6 yards.
You just have to begin to wonder now, how close would San Francisco have to get in order to make a field goal? The wind's been so strong blowing against them. Probably have to get it to at least the 20-yard line to have a legitimate shot.
It's third down and 8, and this crowd, which has been relatively quiet, climbs back into it. Garcia buying time. Penalty flag on the play. The pass is incomplete. Came out of the secondary. The penalty flag. And the 49ers indicate it's against Philadelphia.
Yeah, Ty Streets is indicating that it might have been on him.
I think it's on Lito Shepherd.
Right, against Ty Street.
Holding. Number 26. Defense. It's a 5-yard penalty. An automatic first down.
Grab the jersey. Good call. And one of the problems that you have, especially in man coverage, is if you start scrambling around as a quarterback, now those guys get in a little bit of a panic mode as defensive backs, because you have a chance as a receiver to move around and try and make a play. That time picked up a huge first down.
From the 46, play action. Garcia down the middle to Weaver. Jed Weaver stays on his feet. He is brought down at the 16-yard line.
Well, we've seen Jed Weaver now get down the field on a couple of occasions today, and again, he gets a good release. He comes off the ball right there on the end, and he puts a move there. Well, Semino, the guy who's going to be in that spot, he gets sucked up thinking run, and that's why Jed Weaver's able to get down the middle with nobody on him.
And already, what is the job of Carlos Emmons? He's the guy that generally is over the tight end, that gets the jam on the tight end, doesn't give him that clean release down the field.
Halfway through the fourth quarter, it's Barlow. The running game, which has been spearheaded by Barlow, is a reason why those play actions work so well. That last completion to Weaver, gain of 4 by Kevin.
And I give the San Francisco coaching staff some credit on that last pass to Weaver, because about 2 plays before that, Weaver was open as well down the middle against that cover too. I'm sure the coaches in the booth saw it, so we've got to come right back to it. They did, and it was there again.
I'd give the San Francisco coaches credit for getting this team ready to play with all the injuries and not coming in here to Philadelphia. A tough place to play and laying down. Barlow bouncing it to the outside. A stiff arm for Sheldon Brown, and another first down.
And Cedric Wilson, we talked about the wide receivers earlier and the job that they're doing in the blocking, in the run game, blocking downfield. This time Cedric Wilson, he comes in motion down. He helps seal the end. You're going to see him come into your picture on the left side right there, makes the block, which allows Kevin Barlow to get up inside that block.
The San Francisco 49ers have a first and goal, down by only a point. 9-game winning streak on the line for Philadelphia. Barlow to the goal line. He did not get in. Second and goal.
We saw Jed Weaver make a huge catch to set up this drive, and then this time just a drive block, taking his guy a good 3 or 4 yards down inside and crashing this whole thing this way. Had a stunt down to the inside, just played into that play perfectly for the 49ers.
Scott Gregg, the right tackle, he did a heck of a job as well. You could see the defensive front for Philadelphia getting driven backwards.
A solid second half for the 49ers, experiencing life without Terrell Owens. It's Garcia, and he is rejected. Third down and goal. Garcia leaving late in the first half with a broken collarbone. And it's been an impressive offensive day for the 49ers, really from the start.
But it is always the hard part to get it in those final yards against this Philadelphia Eagles defense. So much on the line right now, not just for the Eagles, but for the St. Louis Rams as well.
Sid Garcia, obviously Terrell Owens, the one who left. And this wide receiving core, much younger. And this running game has worked for San Francisco. They try it with Barlow, and he is in. The 49ers back out in front.
And now you go for 2. Get that kicker off the field. There you go.
Trying to make it a 7-point game. So far this season, the 49ers are 0 for 2 in 2-point conversion tries.
Looked like Derek Deese made up for that earlier sack, driving his guy right back into the end zone. Great block by Deese.
49ers seem confused as they've got some of the guys out there for the field goal team now getting off the field, and finally into the huddle is Garcia to call the play. Wayne Harris, 77, is in for Derek Deese, and the 49ers from the start, after getting the ball in the end zone with Barlow, were confused.
Yeah, they go to the empty backfield set. It was either going to be a quarterback draw, or obviously they're going to have to throw the football in that situation.
Timeout, San Francisco. On the 1-year anniversary of their last road win, the 49ers are on top, trying for 2 to make it a 7-point game. Jump ball for Lloyd, and it's the rookie Lloyd in to make it 28-21.
I'll tell you what, that was a heck of a throw by Jeff Garcia and a heck of a catch by Brandon Lloyd. Jeff Garcia sees the position that the corner had. He throws it over his back shoulder. He's able to make the play for the 2 points.
A touchdown today for Lloyd, and now a 2-point conversion. Easy to see why. The 49ers love their rookie from Illinois. It's 28-21. Well, there it is in 4 boxes, and in the bottom left corner, Kevin Barlow. What a game for him, and for the 49ers have rushed for 200 yards today. Taking it on a bounce is Thrash. James Thrash crosses the 30, and he's brought down at the 35. Watch the pictures fly by. A recap of today's events here in Philadelphia. Pass interference set up the Deuce Staley 1-yard touchdown run. The injury to Terrell Owens, broken collarbone. Circus catch by the rookie Brandon Lloyd. Brian Westbrook, the 81-yard touchdown return on a punt. Barlow just went in from 1 yard out. And then the 2-point conversion was good to Brandon Lloyd. It's 28-21. Under 5 to play. Delayed handoff to Westbrook. Back to the line and forward for a yard. That's it. Some key injuries today on each side. Broken collarbone for Terrell Owens. A knee injury suffered by Ron Stone, but for a team that's headed to the playoffs, Carlos Emmons, a broken fibula. That is a huge loss for a guy who was playing so well.
You know, for Donovan McNabb, everybody talks about his stats and what he's done, but to me, the big difference in his play since the beginning of the season is making big plays in big moments, and we are at that point in this ballgame.
2nd down and 9. McNabb throws and completes to Lewis, and there's a big play and a big moment from Donovan McNabb.
Well, just like that, that's what McNabb has done so well now for the past month and a half. Even when guys get their hands on him, he's able to bounce away, buy a little time, and make a throw down the field. There just aren't but maybe 1 or 2 quarterbacks in the league right now that could have made that play.
And he threw it right where he had to throw it in order for Chad Lewis to have a chance to haul that one in. Threw it up high, and Chad was able to go up and bring it in.
From the 48 on 1st down out the backfield, it's Westbrook.
Wow.
What a move. 1st down inside the 35.
Wow, that was embarrassing. That looked like
it was Tony Parrish who was left standing still.
I mean, Barry Sanders used to do this kind of stuff. Watch this. Parrish is gone. Forget it. He was so far gone he couldn't even trip him.
Well, I'll tell you what, you get the ball in the open field in the hands of Brian Westbrook. There's not many people in this league that are going to be able to bring him down.
Wow.
From the 32-yard line, a blitz, and it's batted down by Parrish. 2:55 remaining. The Eagles have all 3 of their timeouts, and they're down by 7.
Well, Tony Parrish comes back and makes a play here, and San Francisco now is beginning to look a little bit like the Philadelphia Eagles. As they get backed up in their own end, they begin to bring some pressure, and typically hot reads for a quarterback in that situation are the slants. Parrish realized he got his hands up and made the play.
On second down, a handoff to Staley. Not much. A yard, that's it. If the 49ers come out of here with a victory, this would be a big victory for their defensive coordinator, Jim Mora Jr., who has put together this game plan, has gotten guys ready to play with an injury-riddled secondary.
Oh, I don't think there's any question, Joe. The job that he's done really for the past couple of years when they've had a number of injuries. You think back to last season and the job that they were able to do. Now this season, particularly this game, yeah, they've done a heck of a job, and they continue to come after Donovan McNabb and leave these corners one-on-one.
4-down territory. You can run here if you're going to go for it on 4th down.
Another blitz, and McNabb is hit as he let it go. It was Rumpf coming off the corner, and he got to Donovan McNabb an instant before he let the pass fly. It's 4th and 9.
Well, the San Francisco 49ers and Jim Mora even told his owner on the plane coming here, he said, now, we may end up giving up some long touchdowns today, but my belief is that Donovan McNabb, when he's under pressure, is not nearly as accurate a guy, so we're going to come, and we're going to come all day. If he's true to his philosophy, we'll see a blitz here.
4th down and 9. Four-man rush. McNabb with time, and it's caught. There's Freddie Mitchell.
Now, why would you do that?
Well, I think so many times when the game's on the line and then you really get tested as to what you believe in, he didn't have the confidence that they would be able to get there and get pressure on McNabb and force the incompletion.
Come on.
They didn't get there, and it's a 1st down. Couple of different reactions on that 4th down and 9 completion by McNabb to Mitchell. Not much from Andy Reid, but a different story up in a luxury suite. Wilma McNabb, Donovan's mom, celebrating as now the Eagles have a 1st down at the San Francisco 14-yard line, down by 7 with 2 minutes to play.
But Jim Mora Jr. went away from what's been working. He was living with the blitz, and that time just backed into his own.
Well, they bring it here.
McNabb is sacked. Julian Peterson comes up with a sack.
And that's the only thing, and we talk about it, but Donovan has got to understand he does not have all day to stand back there and try to find a receiver, and we've seen it time after time today when he has gotten sacked.
Peterson got there. Timeout, Philadelphia. The 49ers came with a blitz on 1st down, just picked up their 5th sack, and for the most part, McNabb has been a sitting target back there. For the 49ers to try and find, it's 2nd down and 18. Quick throw to Pinkston. And that is well covered up by Carpenter. Carpenter, a former linebacker and safety, up to make that stop playing corner today. With 1:24 and counting, you look at the game summary. The top line the most important. 28-21, San Francisco on top. The Eagles trying for their 10th consecutive win and trying to stay out in front of St. Louis in the race for home field advantage.
Man coverage.
A blitz. Pinkston has it. What a catch. Touchdown.
And the one guy San Francisco was most worried about because of all the injuries in the secondary, they did not want to get Rashad Holman left one-on-one against any of these receivers. And with the game on the line, McNabb picks the right guy. He finds Holman and goes for the touchdown.
Well, for a guy that they didn't want one-on-one, they forced it. I mean, they brought blitz every time. You knew it was just going to be a matter of time before the Eagles were able to take advantage of it.
Akers ties it at 28. Another look at the touchdown throw to Pinkston, the second touchdown of the season. And we're knotted at 28. With that catch for the touchdown, Todd Pinkston is now over 100 yards for the day. He is the Eagles' first 100-yard receiver in their last 27 games. The last one to do it, Antonio Freeman. And he got the catch and the yards over Holman. 5 catches, 121 yards, a touchdown. Had one taken away earlier when Tony Parrish knocked the ball out of his hands as he was getting to the goal line. And Pinkston is in. We're tied at 28. Now the 49ers will get it back. San Francisco will be working into the wind for the final 1 minute 2 seconds of regulation. Jimmy Williams. And after that return, the 49ers may be content to just sit on it.
One thing I disagree with what the 49ers did, they tipped their hands. This was the 4th down and 9 where they're going to hit Freddie Mitchell out here. But you can tell pre-snap that's going to be a zone defense. So Donovan McNabb has time to think through it and make the play. Now they come back on the touchdown play. And they're going to tip the fact that they're going to blitz right away. They bring everybody up to the line of scrimmage. McNabb can see the one-on-one coverage on the outside, had time to pick out the weakest corner, Rashad Holman, and took advantage. You can't let a top-notch NFL quarterback know that much in advance what you're going to do.
But they tipped it earlier, too, Chris, when they were bringing the blitz and were able to get the sacks, too.
Handoff is to Barlow. Brought down from behind at the 12, a gain of 2.
Well, and it looks like Jeff Garcia and the 49ers are going to be pretty content taking this game into overtime.
Philadelphia spends their second timeout, taking the timeouts on defense now. Second down when we return. Tonight on Fox, Homer unwraps the gift of laughter on The Simpsons. Then what could make the holidays brighter than Bernie Mac's first movie role? Then if you can't buy the perfect gift, steal it. Malcolm in the Middle, followed by an all-new Arrested Development. All starts with King of the Hill tonight, following football on Fox. Except for those of you on the West Coast. On second down, it's Barlow needing to hang on to the football, and now the Eagles will spend their final timeout.
And that's exactly right, Joe. If you're Jeff Garcia, you just say, hey, Kevin Barlow, just hang on to the ball. We're trying to run this clock out. We don't need to get a first down. Just do not fumble it.
Well, it's important now for Garcia or the 49ers in general to run some kind of a play that runs 7 seconds off the clock. You want to fool around a little bit, if you will, if you're Jeff Garcia, so that they don't have to punt the football.
Well, the wind has been a big factor in today's game, and there have been special teams errors. LaFleur mishandling that snap. The punt by LaFleur, which was under 10 yards. Westbrook, an 81-yard touchdown return on a punt. Akers missed a 42-yarder going from our left to our right, working into the wind, and now on third down and 4. Barlow tries the left side. He's brought down a yard shy of a first down. The play clock is at 37. There's about a 1 second difference. More time left on the game clock. The Eagles are out of timeouts.
Right, which all they have to do is just hand the ball off one last time on 4th, and then the game regulation time will run out and it'll go into overtime, so they still don't have to worry about having to punt here.
Jeff Garcia is standing with Tom White. 49ers will let the clock wind down and use one of their 2 remaining timeouts. Garcia calls for it. White signals for it, but he did it too late as the play clock wound down. Garcia saying, hey, look, I was standing there telling him we're taking a timeout when the play clock winds down.
Well, obviously there the 5-yard penalty doesn't make any difference to you at all. But I think what he's going to say is there was a differential and there was 1 second. So now they'll have to take one more snap.
What could they have possibly been talking about prior to this?
There was a difference of 1 second between the play clock and the game clock. San Francisco has taken a timeout with 1 second.
So 1 second will remain. San Francisco spends their second timeout. And here is that 42-yard try by Akers, which looked to all the world that it would split the uprights and be plenty long enough until it got about midway through the end zone. And I mean, it hit a wall of wind that knocked it straight down.
The one he was upset with was the one he took that little false stead and didn't time it out very well, and probably forced him to miss that second kick.
Yeah, that was a 46-yard try, so he's missed 2 today. Last time that happened was January football against Tampa Bay. So regulation has expired, and we will stay here for the all-important overtime coin flip to see who will end up with the ball first in the extra period. And again, the 49ers are playing without Terrell Owens.
Yeah, but they're still playing awfully well offensively, and if you're the 49ers, you've got to believe that if you are able to win the coin toss and get the ball, that you can go down the field and put your team in a position to either get the field goal or get the touchdown, because the Eagles have not stopped them yet today.
You know what's interesting, though, and ordinarily it would not be a factor. You'd automatically want the ball first, but the wind is such a huge factor in this game, and I'm not sure that you could kick more than about a 30-35-yard field goal with the wind going in one direction, whereas you might be able to kick a 50-55-yarder going the other direction. I think these teams will opt for the ball with the way they've been moving the football today, but I'm not so sure it's to their advantage.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question that whoever wins the coin toss is going to elect to take the ball, but the wind will become a factor, especially if you're looking at it trying to kick a field goal. You're going to have to get awfully close, much closer than normal, as we've already seen, because of the effects the wind has had.
And anything in the place kicking game for the 49ers has been a crapshoot at best. They've had trouble kicking the football all season, whether it's been Chandler, Potchman, or now Todd Peterson.
Now, overtime, each team gets 2 charged timeouts. This is just like the fourth quarter of a ball game as far as timing is concerned. All replays will be initiated by the replay booth. The coaches are not part of this process. This is tails. This is heads. Heads. Tails. You're the visiting team. What do you call?
Tails.
Tails he calls. Tails he calls. It's heads. Philadelphia is wrong. Stay there.
Well, you could hear the Eagles say, we want the ball. And then from the 49ers side, it was Todd Peterson saying, I want to kick that way. So it's into overtime to determine the outcome of this one. Tied here in Philadelphia. DJ Master Fred Aldis down in the booth, spinning a little Run DMC Christmas for you. It's 28-28. Into overtime we go. And the Eagles will get the ball to start OT. James Thrash will wait deep, and he has come close to breaking a couple here today. Erickson in his career 0-4 in overtime. Andy Reid 2-4 with Philadelphia. Career for Erickson dating back to his days in Seattle. The 4th down completion by Donovan McNabb to Freddie Mitchell, the biggest throw and catch of the game so far, which extended the drive and led to the touchdown throw to Pinkston. This is Thrash from the 10. Penalty flag on the play as Thrash is finally brought down after crossing the 30.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to get John Ritchie on a hold.
It is a hold against Philadelphia.
Well, they had a chance there to get pretty good field position, but because of the hold, now they're going to be backed up.
That's fine. Holding, number 48, during the return, 10-yard penalty. First.
Pretty easy call, too. John Ritchie on the wedge. You're going to see him with the hold right there.
Yanked down Cedric Wilson. You see what Akers did during the break between the end of regulation and overtime. Kicking in this direction and hooking one for good measure. McNabb rolls out. He has not run much today, and that is picked off by Parrish. His second of the game. Tony Parrish is on his feet looking for the end zone. Still going and down inside the 5.
Tony Parrish had that one read all the way. He was just baiting Donovan McNabb. McNabb's going to roll out, try and throw one back across the grain, which I guarantee you every quarterback coach in the world has said, don't throw back across the grain. He's rolling out. Watch Tony Parrish. He's just going to sit behind this. He reads McNabb's eyes, had it all the way, and almost dropped the football.
Well, and the other problem, Chris, is you're right. Donovan should never have thrown the ball, but Freddie Mitchell cannot stay in place and wait for the ball to come to him. When the ball's in the air, Freddie Mitchell has got to go back to the football, and because he doesn't, he opens up the lane for Tony Parrish to step in there and make the interception.
Well, now for San Francisco, you don't do anything but bring your kicker on, make this kick, and go home.
Well, they're looking for their first road victory of the season. They get the interception and the big return by Parrish to set up this short field goal try. The kick coming when we come back. Tony Parrish has 2 interceptions today, 9 on the season to lead the NFL. His afternoon here in Philadelphia, 5 tackles, 2 picks, 3 passes defended, 1 forced fumble, which literally took a touchdown away from the Philadelphia Eagles. He might have been embarrassed in the open field by Brian Westbrook, but what a game he has had, setting up this short field goal try. And any fan of the 49ers, and you can include Dennis Erickson in this, knows that trying the field goal is anything but sure. And how tenuous is it? Right now they have their offense on the field. They took their field goal unit off the field during the break.
They're going to put it in front of the goalpost. There you go.
So they get the ball into the middle of the field, and now Peterson with a new holder, Rattay, after LaFleur bobbled one earlier in the game, will come on and try to give the 49ers their first road victory of the season.
I got to tell you, and as many problems as we've seen today with these field goal kickers, and then when you consider the 49ers all season, I'm not so sure that I wouldn't have just tried running the ball and scoring a touchdown without depending on the kicker.
You know, the problem with that, though, is Kevin Barlow had the fumbles last week, so I guess it's either or.
22-yard attempt. Rattay holding, gets it down, and the 49ers have defeated Philadelphia. They celebrate on the field, the 49ers do here in Philadelphia, and they celebrate in St. Louis, where right now the St. Louis Rams are out in front in that chase for home field advantage throughout the NFC playoffs.
Well, they're definitely celebrating in St. Louis right now. I mean, yes, they've got to go on the road and beat Detroit, a game that they clearly should win. But if they're able to do that, you're right, they'll lock up home field advantage throughout the playoffs.
And you have to put this down as one major disappointment for the Philadelphia Eagles. They had a chance to really, I think, lock up a great shot at going to the Super Bowl, and they did severe damage to that today.
Let's go down to the field and Pam Oliver.
All right, thanks a lot, Joe. Tony Parrish, huge play there. But just talk about the resiliency of this team. Everybody's saying nothing to play for, but you guys had a different idea.
Well, you know, we know what we have here. Although our record doesn't show it, we believe we're a better team than that. So, you know, we haven't won a game on the road. We just had to come out and do it.
Troy mentioned that you seem to have read Donovan the whole way. Tell us about that pick, that important pick.
Yeah, you know, they ran a waggle, and normally they run a little out route with a corner, but I think it was Freddie Mitchell. He went to a curl, so I read it and came back underneath it.
All right, you're the man. Thanks, Tony. Let's go back upstairs to Joe.
All right, Pam, thanks. To a man, the 49ers were surprised that Parrish isn't headed over to Honolulu as a Pro Bowler. 9 interceptions, 2 today to set up the winning field goal by Peterson. We'll come back and wrap up the day. An important day, Week 16 here in Philadelphia in just a moment.